as we speak about innovation, collaboration, and compliance, led by the exciting work that Interswitch is doing. We just want to quickly remind you what TechConnect is all about. TechConnect is a yearly Interswitch initiative designed to bridge the gap between the technological providers in business, so businesses, commercial banks, other financial institutions, and end users. As a pioneer in Nigeria's fintech landspace, Interswitch envisions a future where innovation drives Africa's digital transformation.
And let's not forget, the theme for TechConnect 5.0 is United Frontiers. Growth powered by innovation, collaboration, and compliance. This encapsulates Interswitch's mission. Having held in the cities of Enugu and Abuja, now we are in Lagos. TechConnect has connected with diverse audiences, and across these cities, Interswitch has unveiled transformative and cutting-edge solutions for growth and profitability, while reshaping the payment ecosystem, whilst engaging their existing and potential customers.
Our distinguished guests, our business leaders, our champions of industry, we want to thank you for being in this room. We also want to give special recognition to the office of Mr. Jimoh Musa, the Director of Payment Systems of Central Bank of Nigeria. He is ably represented today by Mr. Ajekaye Wayola, who is the Deputy Director of Payment Systems Policy Department of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Please thank you for being here with us for this conversation. Thank you. So now, as the host, we have welcomed you, but this event is powered and organized by Interswitch, and so we think it is only right that a representative of Interswitch comes on here to give the welcoming remarks. For that, we welcome Cherry Eremosele to the stage. Cherry is the Executive Vice. We need to clap loudly. She's the first one coming on stage. We need to, please. Cherry is the Executive Vice President. The staircase is this way. Yes. The Executive Vice President of Growth Marketing, Corporate Communications of Interswitch. She has 20 years of functional and leadership experience from fast-moving goods and telecoms industry. She believes in higher education and has completed executive programs from Columbia University, Cranfield University, Wharton Business School, Kellogg Business, and our very own Lagos Business School. And most recently, it's not done, and most recently, the Fintech program at Oxford University Business School. Please give her a round of applause for the welcome speech.
Please, let's put our hands together.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Thank you, hosts and hostesses, for that beautiful welcome and beautiful intro. The Director, Payment Systems, Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Jimoh Musa, ably represented by Mr. Wayola Ajakaye, Deputy Director, Payment System Policy Department, Central Bank of Nigeria. Welcome, sir. Our partners, regulators, media partners, my colleagues from the media and friends of Interswitch. I'd like to say good morning and thank you for honoring us this morning. We truly appreciate your presence. On behalf of the Interswitch Group, it is my honor to welcome you to the grand finale of TechConnect 5.0, our flagship thought leadership and engagement platform that brings together industry leaders, regulators, and other key stakeholders shaping the future of Africa's digital and financial ecosystem. Over the past few weeks, TechConnect has journeyed from Enugu to Abuja, igniting conversations, inspiring collaborations, and building bridges that connects technology, policy, and innovation. And now, as we conclude this incredible series in Lagos, the commercial heartbeat of Africa, we do so with renewed energy and a shared sense of purpose. This year's theme, United Frontiers, growth powered by innovation, collaboration, and compliance, captures the spirit of what TechConnect stands for, a catalyst that brings together every type of player in Africa's digital ecosystem. For over 2 decades, Interswitch has remained steadfast in its mission to power Africa's digital transformation. We have witnessed firsthand how innovation, when guided by collaboration and to look ahead to a future where Africa leads not just in adoption, but in defining the next wave of global innovation. A future where compliance drives confidence. A future where collaboration fuels growth and innovation remains our common language. So as we begin today's sessions, I invite everyone here to listen deeply, engage fully, and share boldly the insights, partnership, and ideas that forms here today will reap far beyond this room, shaping policies, powering solutions, and driving inclusive progress across the continent. Once again, welcome to TechConnect 5.0 Lagos, the grand finale of an extraordinary journey. Together, let's continue to power Africa's digital story, one innovation, one collaboration, one connection at a time. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the day.
To clap for her until she gets to her seat, or she hasn't sat down. Please clap.
Clap is also very cool.
No, they're just waking up. It will get better, right? It will get better. They've promised me. Yeah, so let's just practice. Just clap for her, please. She hasn't sat down.
She hasn't, yeah. What a welcome address.
Thank you. The ship has officially sailed. We have officially started. With all this talk that was happening, Cherry talked about innovation a lot. I mean, she mixed in compliance, but what I wanted to focus on right now was innovation. And I was thinking, getting ready for this, because, I mean, if nobody knows, Richard works with Interswitch.
I expect people to start clapping now, too. Thank you.
But as an outsider, I wanted to do some research on some of the wonderful work that Interswitch has done. And I realized how much it had affected my personal life. I know I don't look it, but there was a time when I used to go into banks and we had to do tellers and we had to do pick tallies at a branch. What I'm learning is that because of the people in this room and because of Interswitch, I don't have to do that anymore.
Yes.
So thank you very much. Please clap for yourselves.
Please clap for yourselves. Please clap for yourselves.
The other thing I wanted was just, there wasn't enough about just the boasting and the good work that Interswitch had done. I didn't see enough people saying, Interswitch, thank you for how you've helped my business. And so right now, Richard, we're going to correct that. Please tell us some things, especially for this room, that Interswitch has done to benefit everybody in this room.
Thank you so much, Chidi. You've said very well. Said very, very well. But thank you also for taking us down memory lane and looking at where it all started. But I want to tell you something about Interswitch. Interswitch at its core has a purpose of inspiring Africa to greatness, just like Cherry had already well said, through innovation, through excellence, and also through value creation. And you see, Interswitch has been doing this for 22 plus years. Chidi, can you imagine? 22 plus years. I can imagine some people maybe are 21 in this room. Well, I like to call Interswitch an enabler, right? And why do I say that? You know, as a pioneer in the Nigerian fintech industry, Interswitch has played a role by supporting the growth and development of the fintech industry. They provide the rails, or what I call the framework, on which the fintech industry rides on. So several key players are plugged into this particular framework. You see, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to say this about Interswitch. You see, Interswitch is the structure for infrastructure, the powerhouse of processing, and when it comes to switching, they are the switch. And let's give them credence for even their issuance, with 70 million plus cardholders all over Africa. Please, I know you can do better than that. I know you can do better than that. Chidi, are you convinced about Interswitch now?
I'm beginning to be convinced, but I know there's an expert in this room that can tell us a bit more about Interswitch. I know there's somebody in here that has been here from day one.
Oh, yeah.
That knows all the things that have happened to make Interswitch the company that it is today. He has
been here since the foundation. And he's among what is called today as the very day one. Let me call him what you say, a Superman. And he has many accolades from the prestigious Lagos Business School and IESE Business School. Currently, he is the Managing Director, Payment Processing and Interswitch. Please let us make welcome
Akim Lawal. We promised.
Please give him a Superman clap. A Superman clap.
On this clapping.
A Superman clap.
Akim will be giving us the keynote presentation. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. With that kind of introduction, you'll be feeling very, 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 very honored. Let me start by thanking our hosts for today for that warm and exciting introduction. Thank you very much. I have been asked to present the keynote. And our theme for today's event is United Frontiers. Growth powered by innovation, collaboration, and compliance. As is our tradition, I'll go through the protocol. The Director, Payment Systems, Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Musa Jimo, represented by Mr. Wayola Ajekaye. Welcome, sir. The Deputy Director, Payments System Policy Department, Central Bank of Nigeria. The MDs and executive of banks present. You're very welcome, sirs and Maz. The MDs and executives of microfinance banks and fintechs. The chairman and vice chairman of the Committee of E-Business Industry Heads. You're very welcome, sir, ma. Thank you for coming. Our partners, the regulators, our media partners, my colleagues from the industry and from Interswitch, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to stand here today at the grand finale of TechConnect 5.0. We should give each other a round of applause, please. We have been doing this for 5 years, and this is our biggest and probably most important event yet. Today I stand before a special group of inspiring innovators, value creators, change makers, and game changers. And I would like to welcome you as we continue to work together to shape Africa's digital future. Last year, we had an extraordinary event. There were so many discussions amongst industry thought leaders, but there was one quote in particular that stuck with me. And the quote was, We must not see regulation and compliance as a checklist or an obstacle. We must see it as guardrails that ensure our success. We must build compliance into our innovation and into our products. Over the past few weeks, the TechConnect train has journeyed from Enugu to Abuja, and now we're in Lagos with one mission: to explore how innovation, collaboration, and compliance can come together to power sustainable growth across Nigeria and across Africa's digital landscape. At its core, TechConnect is more than an event. It is a conversation. It is a living, evolving dialogue that reflects our shared vision for Africa's digital economy. It is where regulators, policymakers, innovators, and business leaders converge to connect, to align, and to chart the path forward. This year's theme, United Frontiers, Growth Powered by Innovation, Collaboration, and Compliance, speaks to the heart of what drives progress in any ecosystem. Because the truth is, innovation cannot thrive in isolation. Collaboration is the currency of scale, and compliance, when it is done right, is the foundation of trust. And we cannot have a payments industry without trust. Across Africa, we have witnessed remarkable transformation. Technology is actively reshaping how we trade, how we pay, how we learn, how we interact, and how we live. Digital payments has become the backbone of commerce, the invincible infrastructure that is enabling growth. Yet, the pace of innovation must be matched by an equal commitment to integrity, security, and inclusion. At Interswitch, this belief underpins everything that we do. For over 2 decades, we have helped to build and strengthen the frameworks that power financial transactions across Africa, connecting people, businesses, and governments through trusted technology. But beyond the infrastructure, our mission has always been human: to make everyday exchanges simpler, faster, and more rewarding. And all of that cannot be done without innovation, but it must be innovation that is strongly aligned with compliance. As we look to the future, we must recognize that the next phase of Africa's digital growth will not be defined by technology alone. It will be shaped by the strength of partnerships. It will be shaped by the clarity of our regulatory frameworks. It will be shaped by our shared resolve to ensure that innovation benefits everyone, from the urban entrepreneur in Lagos to the rural farmer in Igbemo Ekiti. This is why TechConnect matters. Because every dialogue that we will have here today has the potential to become tomorrow's breakthrough: a new policy, a stronger collaboration, or a transformative product that shapes how Africa connects and transacts. We have seen how trust can accelerate adoption, how collaboration can unlock opportunities, and how innovation, when responsibly guided, can redefine entire industries and entire sectors. So as we close the 5th edition of TechConnect with today's event, let us remember that this is not the end of the series. It is the beginning of a new story, Africa's digital story, a story that we are all writing together, with every partnership, with every breakthrough, and with every act of courage to innovate for good. At Interswitch, we remain committed to leading that story, not just as a company, but as a catalyst for the continent's digital transformation. Because our belief is simple: when we unite our frontiers, innovation, collaboration, and compliance, Africa does not just catch up. Africa leads. Thank you very much, and welcome again to the grand finale of TechConnect 5.0.
Thank you so much. What I got from this speech, to make everyday exchanges simpler and faster. I think that is interesting to me and will be interesting to you when you see the product showcase. We're about to show a video about Interswitch's newest product, something we think you will be excited about, something that will make everyday exchanges simpler and faster. Go ahead, enjoy the product showcase. Show us about Interswitch. Everyday exchanges.
What just happened now?
Oh, she just tapped and paid.
Oh, really? So that means you can start paying with our card, just tapping.
Yeah, you can.
That's great. Okay, thank you.
And it's very easy.
That's good. Okay, I'm going to go to my bank to make inquiries.
That would be nice.
Tokenization is a secure feature that turns your card, phone, or wearable device into a safe payment token so you can pay with just a tap, anytime, anywhere. Powered by Interswitch.
So it's still clap, still clap. Thank you so much. Please, can we start to set up?
For our fireside chat, we need the seats up here.
Okay. Chidi.
Tap to pay is dangerous, or do they know how much I buy, how much I spend on shoes? Tap to pay?
No, but you know we're here talking about innovation, collaboration, and what?
I'm excited.
Compliance. So you don't have anything to fear about.
Tap to pay.
Yes, it's here. It is here.
That
Tap
means I can think it and I can buy it.
Yes. No, wait, cool down. Not necessarily think and buy. But you still have to do what? Tap and do what? And buy.
Correct. We're off to a great start. We've seen some of the innovation that is happening at Interswitch. You guys didn't seem as wild as me. Have you seen it before? Was it? Or you're like, oh my God, it's so new. I have to digest it. What happened? You've seen it before?
I think they are still processing it like the lady who was about to buy something. You get? So they are still flabbergasted in code by what they saw.
You can pay with your phone, and you can pay with your wearable device.
Yes.
That's what I saw.
Yes.
That's fantastic. I'm still waiting on these seats to get on stage, please.
But while we wait for the seats, let me just say something a little about what we saw. You know, earlier on, Akim said something very, very important about the role that Interswitch plays in the industry. As you can see, Interswitch has made us know that the imagination that we have is actually now what? A possibility. And what Interswitch is trying to tell you is that, hey, come. We now have what you call the facility upon which you can now ride on. Contactless payment is here, and contactless payment is here to stay. The CBN had already even given us the guidelines on how this should run. And Interswitch took this as a responsibility to create this facility. I want us to just take a look at the cards in front of us. If you notice, there is a QR code there. I want us to take our phones and, quickly scan the QR codes. I think, Chidi, you have one or two things to say about this.
Please scan the QR code. It's on the back of your agenda. First of all, scan it and let me know that you can actually see something, and so that I know that you actually scanned it. Thank you so much. I have one confirmation. Do I have confirmation from this side of the room? Have we scanned the code, please? Someone just wave at me on this side. Thank you. This side of the room, I feel like an auctioneer. This side of the room, someone scanned? Fantastic. Hello, sirs. I'm so sorry. Can we put it in the middle? Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Well done. Thank you. If we scan that, every product, including the one that we've talked about today already, will be there. We also have business unit leaders, people that have worked hard to bring this product to life, and they are scattered all over the room. So if this is something that is interesting to you, to your bank, to your business, as a way to improve and make sure that people pay faster, please talk to the representatives of Interswitch. Okay, we're about ready to go on with our next section. Before we do, Richard, just so that I'm sure you're paying attention, remind me what the theme of today's event is.
See, today is talking about growth powered by innovation, collaboration, and what? Compliance.
We're going to talk about the compliance section of that. We've had innovation already. We know tap to pay. Collaboration is what's happening in this room. Please remember to say hi to a person beside you. They might be your next customer. They might be your next client. Just say a little hello. They might be your next boss or next employee. We don't know. Not this middle table. I think you all know yourselves, but please say hi. Our fireside chat will be about sustaining momentum in financial services transformation. This conversation will happen between Akim Lawal and our very special guest, Mr. Ajakeye. It will be moderated by Alex Uday. And so we want to welcome Alex Uday to the stage. Please give him a round of applause as he comes to the stage. Alex is the Chief Compliance Officer of Interswitch. He has an impressive career path marked by a wealth of experience in banking and financial sectors. He was the head of the Financial Crime Compliance for Nigeria and West Africa at Standard Chartered Bank Limited, and is currently bringing all that expertise, all that fervor as the Chief Compliance Officer of the Interswitch Group. Please welcome him to the stage. I know that we like compliance in this room. Let's clap, please. No, we promised me, I can't go back. Please, let's clap. Thank you very much. Enjoy your conversation.
Thank you, Chidi. Okay, good morning, everyone. And a warm welcome to the fireside chat at TechConnect 5.0. Today's conversation is going to focus on a topic that sits right at the heart of our nation's financial evolution, and that's navigating policy shifts, sustaining momentum in financial services transformation. In recent years, Nigeria's financial services landscape has witnessed remarkable growth, from the rise of fintechs and digital banks to the implementation of open banking and instant payment infrastructure. Yet, with progress comes the challenge of keeping pace with evolving policies and ensuring that innovation and regulation advance hand in hand. This session will explore how both policymakers and industry leaders can collaborate to sustain innovation, drive inclusion, and maintain momentum that continues to position Nigeria as a continental leader in digital finance. I'm delighted to be joined by two distinguished voices who represent both the policy and innovation sides of the transformation. Firstly, let me warmly welcome our special guest, Waliola Ajakaye, who is Deputy Director of Payment Systems Policy Department at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Waliola Ajakaye is a seasoned financial sector professional with more than 25 years of banking experience, including 2 decades at the Central Bank of Nigeria. In his role as Deputy Director in the Payment Systems Policy Department, he has distinguished himself as a leading policy expert in financial systems, payment systems, and risk management. Ajakaye is known for his strategic mindset and his ability to identify industry shifts early. His work focuses on shaping forward-looking, future-proof regulation that strengthen Nigeria's payment ecosystem while balancing innovation, stability, and resilience. He is a life member of both the Chartered Institute of Directors and the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, reflecting his deep commitment to corporate governance and financial markets development. A passionate advocate for collaboration, he believes that shared efforts is essential for achieving meaningful progress across the financial landscape. Beyond his professional achievements, Ajakaye is dedicated to community service. He regularly mentors neighbors on self-improvement, offers encouragement centered on hope and personal growth, and visits the sick in hospital each month. You're very welcome, sir.
Thank you.
And joining him once again would be Akim Lawal, who is Managing Director of Payment Processing and Switching at Interswitch Group. Akim Olujimi Lawal is a founding member of Interswitch Group and currently serves as the Managing Director of Transaction Switching and Processing, which we call Pure Pay Division. A first-class graduate of engineering with business degrees from prestigious Lagos Business School and IESE Business School. Akim has 23 years experience in electronic payments, payment technology, strategy, and business management. He led the engineering team that built Interswitch Super Switch and has played a key role in Africa's fintech revolution, including co-founding the continent's first fintech unicorn. Akim is known for launching innovative products, supporting fintech companies across Africa, and serving on the Governing Council of Fintech Association of Nigeria. Renowned for his strategic vision and passion for technology-driven transformation, he is respected for his ability to spot and execute business opportunities in the payments industry across the continent. You are welcome, Akim. So together, they will unpack how policy evolution and market innovation can work in tandem to build a resilient, inclusive, and future-ready financial ecosystem. So I'll start with you, Ajakaye. The central bank recently unveiled its payment system vision, PSV 2028. Could you articulate the top 3 strategic priorities guiding the bank's current policy direction, particularly regarding open banking, cross-border payments, and financial system stability?
So thank you very much, and thank you for your kind words. I want to thank Interswitch for extending this privilege to us to talk about this, and the audience too for coming around to listen to regulators. You know, usually when we write, the only way we communicate in the olden days, so to speak, is through the websites. I remember when I was in the commercial bank, we would just see on the TV when the central bankers have made pronouncements. We go to the website and go and, pick up the details. But the world has moved on. Regulators have also moved on.
They are more engaging. It's the way things work. Even in the core financial system, there is something they call forward guidance, where the regulators try to tell the markets where it thinks things will go. So we've also tried to do that for the payment system vision. We all know the history, where it was coming from. And when 2025 is drawing to its end, it became obvious that the PSV Vision 2025 we are running would have to be sunsetted, so to speak. It has to go down. And a decision was taken to include the industry, even make the industry a part of that drive for the next vision. Of course, the PSV visioning had always included, groups from the industry. What we found out was for the PSV 2025, many of the vision or the ambition we had were not completely realized. For instance, you mentioned open banking. For many of the people who started the drive for open banking, it's not yet done. And it's not yet done as soon as they would have loved it to be. The regulation for open banking came out 2018, 2019. 4 or 5 years down the line, we are still at it. So it's almost natural that we must carry over, let me use that word, some of the things that is needed to be done in open banking into the next phase. Because one of the few things that struck me in terms of trying to write innovative policies is that you could write everything you want on the paper. Somehow, people needed to drive it. So you can't, it doesn't matter how much you vision the issues, you must carry everybody along. So that's to answer the question on open banking. And this also translates into some of the other areas that we've seen that we've not achieved as much as we should. We also want to look at cross-border payments. You remember the initiative of Central Bank, e-Naira, CBDC, the story. Just like open banking, we also felt it's not yet done. It's not yet done. The building blocks are there, but where we really want to get to, we've not gone there. You notice the shifts in CBDCs, even the shifts, central banks shift towards cryptocurrencies, stable coins, and so on. So the evolution is clear that these are the things we have to frame, either we like it or not. So we are determined to also carry that story forward. We've done something, yes. We call it e-Naira 1.0 or CBDC 1.0. But now we need to do the 2.0. What are we going to do with this? And it was obvious too, 2-3 years ago when we were doing all that, that this is just like the beginning. Then some of our staff would say this is just like a building block. It doesn't matter you've gotten a currency out. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to innovate on it, and so on and so forth? So it was almost a no-brainer that CBDC e-Naira must also be moved forward for the next set of visioning. For cross-border payments, it's clear. Even the markets have been pressing for it. So it must necessarily take place, especially with the rise of stable coins. If you notice, in the regulatory space, it's a lot of talk now, a lot of talk around it. So cross-border payments, we can't run away from it. We know the role Nigeria plays, not just in West Africa, even in the African continent, in terms of cross-border. It's something we would bring forward to the table and provide clarity, more clarity. There are structural barriers from legacy issues, you know, like trade policies, payment policies, and so on. But we intend this next phase to be able to solve and bring down some of those barriers and provide clarity for innovators to come in and do their thing. So that's just the much I will say for now.
Okay, thank you. And I'm pretty happy to hear that there's a lot of collaboration happening now, especially around PSV, where you've also brought in the industry to be part of what is happening. Yeah. And that's the heart of where the industry can also come in with the innovation parts, and both the policy meets together, and then we drive all that we need to do as in the ecosystem. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Akeem, over to you. So from an Interswitch perspective, as an industry leader, how have recent regulatory shifts created both opportunities and constraints for fintech innovation, and which specific policies have had the most direct impact on product development timelines and regional expansion?
Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Mr. Ajakaye. I think, first of all, I really need to thank the Central Bank for gracing our event. It's not the first time that Central Bank has attended TechConnect. We're always grateful to have you here. Thank you so much. I would also maybe just to underscore the point around industry collaboration. I know a number of us in this room have been part of the payment system vision working groups over the last few weeks. There were more than 100 people that represented so many organizations across the industry to work with the central bank to shape the future of our industry. And I think that's where I would really like to start to answer your question. Just to go back a little bit into history. The first payment system vision was PSV 2020. Many of us may not realize, but some of the things that we take for granted today as innovation came from the work that was done to create within the PSV 2020, right? It was from there that Nuban was originally conceptualized. It was from there that NIP, Instant Payment, was conceptualized. It was from there that BVN, that has solved the security and identity challenge in the industry, was conceptualized. I remember I sat on a panel then to look at agency banking, right? Then it was an idea. Today, there are more than 2 million agents creating life and livelihood for millions of Nigerians across our country. So whenever you see the industry collaborates with the regulators, we've seen that amazing things can happen. We've seen it. It's a firm belief that we have in terms of how our industry has evolved. Today, there are quite a number of things that are driving what we see into the future. I think probably one of the biggest ones was the video we saw earlier. That came from a regulation that came out about 2 years ago now, the contactless guidelines. And it has created clarity, right, and removed some of the obstacles that have prevented contactless from coming to Nigeria. But beyond that, it's opening the doors for new innovations. So the contactless that you see is you bring out a card, you tap it, and you go. But as industry stakeholders, we know that we can go beyond that. We know that we can add tokenization to it, which means that you can put the card into your ring or into your wristwatch and then use that to pay. We can convert your phone into a contactless payment device and use that to pay, right? That is how innovation and regulation marry together, and then create the next wave of solutions, right? We also know that sometimes regulation comes in as a brake, right? I think one of the best analogies was from the director himself. He used to say that we should think about regulation as if you want to drive a Ferrari that can go at 400 kilometers per hour, you will not drive that car if there are no brakes. You cannot. Either you kill yourself or you kill somebody, right? So that you do not end up in that situation is why you need regulation. Regulations are the guardrails. One of the ones that is probably causing the most conversation in the industry at the moment has been the regulation around agency banking. And I think it's really important that we understand that it is basically the handbrakes that needs to prevent us from going off the rails. We all know the transformative impact that agency banking has had on many of us, but we also know some of the challenges that it has created with the kind of cash economy that it has created, where there's so much cash that is now outside of the banking industry that is making it difficult for central bank to conduct policy. When you understand the reason why the regulator is putting those guardrails in place, we can work with the regulator to make sure that those issues are addressed, right? And I think a lot of how we look at the guidelines that have come around the limits, the separation between merchant and agent, the geotagging of terminals, and even the compliance with ISO 2002 are all the handbrake necessary to make sure that we do not kill somebody and nobody kills us. Right? I think the last one, just to speak to it, again, current regulation is ISO 20022. The deputy director talked earlier about cross-border. It's not as if cross-border is not happening in Africa. It's happening. But it's so fragmented and disconnected that it is difficult to do a transaction, despite the many fintechs that are played in that space. It is difficult and it is expensive. How do you use regulation to solve that fragmentation? I personally believe that the move towards ISO 20022 as a compliance standard will begin to create the basis for interoperability along payment systems. It's not just connection to SWIFT. It's how we will eventually connect to other countries and other payment system providers. And if we think about it from that perspective, the opportunities that it opens up are amazing. You will begin to see innovations that will solve some of these cross-border challenges that we faced. I think just before I land, just one last thing that the deputy director spoke about. We know that Nigerians are the biggest users of digital currencies on the continent. Depending on which of the sources you look at, it is above $40 billion a year. I know it's one of the main features of PSV to see if we can bring that under the regulation of the central bank. And if we do so, I think it will solve so many problems. It will give innovators confidence to come out and showcase their innovation that solves a lot of the problems that we're facing. It will give foreigners the confidence to invest in the businesses that we are doing. And I think it will transform Nigeria into a central hub for digital payments and cross-border payments across the continent. And that is my hope and that is my belief. Thank you.
Thank you, Akim. Maybe I'll continue with you so that I don't stop the flow. I know we've mentioned a lot around this, but how can policymakers and innovators work together to ensure that regulation enables rather than stifle innovation? I know this is something that I'm always harassed about within the switch, so maybe it's something we then need to discuss here.
It's always a conversation. You are not wrong. It's always a conversation. On the one hand, the regulators have to look at what is good for the industry, what is good for the country, and what is good for the consumer, right? And their job is really balancing those three. But we as industry players, we are looking at what is good for our business and what is good for our customers. And sometimes those conversations can be in conflict, right? Which is why engagements with the central bank like this are critical, so that we can see all the sides of the problem before we make decisions, right? And I think, again, kudos, and we've worked across Africa as Interswitch, right? We've engaged with so many different regulators in so many different places. There are not many regulators that call industry into a room to help them craft regulation. There are not many, right? But it's a fantastic step that our central bank does, and I think it's one of the elements that we must definitely continue. I don't know how many countries where you have an exposure draft that you are given opportunity to respond to before the final regulation comes out. And I think it's an important step that we must continue. I think there is a need sometimes that when regulation is issued, there are so many different interpretations. And clarity in regulation is critical. And again, creating the mechanism for those kind of engagements to say, this is what you wrote. This is what we understand. What is it that you intended? If we can marry those two, then compliance becomes a lot easier. And I know you probably want to make a comment on that as well. But it is a critical step, I think, as well. And I think finally is really around, we believe that industry players can see farther into the future than maybe the regulators can. Regulators usually have to play catch-up because technology is moving, innovators are there, we're building things, we're envisioning things, we're creating things. I think there's a responsibility for us as industry practitioners who are seeking innovation to find compliance officers like Alex, to bring into the conversations early, so that they can help you translate that your innovation into the language that you can use to talk to central bank. Because sometimes if you go there and say, we want to do this, we want to do that, what you are saying and what CBN is hearing might be two different things. So you need a translator. You need an Alex to translate. So I think part of what we need to do as an industry is to, in envisioning the future, in building our products, we should find a way to carry regulation along. And luckily, the central bank has created a sandbox. We would like that to be more efficient, by the way. But it is one of the things that we must make more efficient so that we can take our ideas in there and get some kind of guidance on how do we do this in a manner that it does not address or contradict some of the principles on which central bank is.
Okay, thanks, Hakeem. So you've spoken from the innovator side. So Ajake, I want to hear from you from the policy side of things.
Yeah, thank you very much. In fact, I'm so happy listening to you. It's like he's lecturing me now what we need to do. Thank you. It's true. Sometimes what the regulators see is different from what the participants or the industry sees. And sometimes we're actually saying the same thing, but in different ways. So what we want to do, what we are trying to do now in CBN is to write maybe clearer regulations, a kind of a shift. We're already working on it. You'll be noticing from this year some of the regulation, it's a bit different from what it was. Because what we tried to do was, can we first of all just say the rules? Let's be clear about what we're saying. And if there are needs for guidance notes or something, then we can just add that. That is the way we'll try and be writing going forward. And we want to also retrofit even some of the regulations we've we've issued in the past to make it into that format so that it's a bit clearer. That's on one side. Another thing is central bank is trying to now see really into the future and frame the regulations that are needed. Sometimes regulations can serve like the Kickstarter. Like this thing you said about QR code. I remember when we decided to write the regulations around it. It wasn't as if it's new, but we could also sense the potential for it. And we had to call lots and lots of people into the room. They came, explained what it was. We went into very technical details. And we didn't want to confuse the industry, so we had to tone down the technicalities so that you can write something that can last. I'm showing you that process I'm using that process just to illustrate that the central bank is trying to frame the future in a way that will allow innovation going forward. The same thing with the open banking. Many people look at open banking as so much of the opportunity. The way we saw it was APIs are going to be like the thing of the future. So if you don't find a way to legitimize the usage and frame how it's used, you are just going to have chaos, so to speak, down the line. That's the way, even though if you read the regulations, you may not see this, but that's the mindset behind that regulation. So like I said, it's the same thing we're trying to say, but different ways. The practice that you mentioned earlier of exposing the draft is something we try to imbibe. Maybe once in a while you see some regulations coming out up front. That's usually maybe not the norm. We really want to do that. There's a regulation on baseline solutions. It's going to affect everybody in the industry. Everybody in the industry. We try to put it out there. It's not something we couldn't have issued in a month or two. But the idea is, please let people understand where we're going. Let people understand where we're going. And I tell you, some of these regulations, if the industry understand and embrace it, it's going to create ecosystems that they may not even understand. It's possible, So, it's a balancing act for us, and we hope that going forward, we are going to write clearer regulations. Going forward, we are going to involve more and more of the industry. We will not surprise the industry, except maybe things like compliance. Maybe there is clear and present danger you needed to clarify. Like you mentioned, agent banking. It was becoming a bit clear that we needed to help frame the industry, because the central bank was taking a lot of it off the industry that you won't know about. And, sometimes when people act out of ignorance, they could damage what they are trying to protect. So we're just trying to find that balance. That's what led to that. And I'm happy you recognize that we need to come in to do that. So we'll engage further. Like this visioning thing, I can assure you we're not going to come up with it without the strong, collaboration and input from the industry. That's a promise. But I will also say, sometimes the industry also needs to be pulled to a direction. This is what and only the central bank can do that in a funny way. I'll give an analogy that is off the line. CBN has this privilege in the landscape to be able to see a bit medium term, long term. CBN can think in 5 years, 4 years. Even the politicians can't think in 5 years. They think in 2 years, or 2 terms of 4 years maximum. So we have the, I'll call it privilege, to be able to see across time. So sometimes there are things we are also seeing that individual industry players may not see, and we want everybody to go in that direction. So sometimes you see that push. We are going to see a couple of such policy to come out. You see them. The reason is because we want Nigeria to be a bit ahead. It might cost money, it might cost a lot of energy and so on, but if we're able to do it, you would see maybe 3-4 years, we emerge better. So I'm just putting that out there. But nonetheless, there is no regulation we're going to put out there that the industry won't have strong input into. And lastly, all those feedbacks that we get on exposure drafts, if you see the effort we take to sieve them, to explain, to understand, to call, it's sometimes 2 months, 3 months, we are calling people, what do you mean, how do you frame this? But this is different, they clarify, and we now improve the draft, So that's the transparent way we go about the policy. So let me just stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jake. Akim, back to you. So what are the most critical factors that will unlock the next phase of growth for the Nigerian digital finance ecosystem? Specifically, what needs to happen in terms of interoperability, consumer trust, or cross-sector collaboration for transformation momentum to scale effectively?
Thanks, Alex. And I will answer quickly and simply from an industry perspective. I don't want to reveal Interswitch secrets here. For trust, I think by far the 2 biggest issues that customers are facing today is reliability and fraud, right? Customers want to be able to go to a merchant and do a transaction and have it succeed, and not have to deal with reversals or chargebacks, right? And it is a critical element of what we need to solve as an industry. Again, I know that the PSV, one of the elements of it was looking at infrastructure, right? And those KPIs that will allow the industry to raise the bar in terms of reliability will be dealt with within that document. The second one is fraud, right? We still, as an industry, have one of the lowest fraud to sales ratio amongst many countries around the world, right? But because we are not a wealthy nation, the amount that is lost to fraud is staggering. It's scary, right? And it's an area where, as an industry, collaboration is too important, right? And it's everything from from detection to prevention to recovery. And I think as we think about the future, those are the elements that we must build into not just what we are doing as an industry, but what the regulators and us need to collaborate and work on. If we deal with these 2 things, we can deal with trust. In terms of growth, we still have a huge population of financially excluded people, right? I think our numbers are somewhere in the 70%. There are countries in Africa that are doing 90-something%, right? A lot of that are still viable people who have economic empowerment. And if we can provide them with a way to access financial services, then we can add their efforts to how our economy will ultimately grow. So I think innovation around financial inclusion is critical. It will require not just payments to work, but telcos to work as well. I'm very happy that the NCC has licensed MVNOs. I know one of the requests of the industry is we would like to have a telecoms company that is focused entirely on our industry and our needs as an industry. So I'm hoping one of the MVNOs will solve that problem. Hint, hint. So I think it's another critical one. We need to find innovation there. And I think really, this one is personal for me, right? I think Nigeria is currently underrepresented when it comes to cross-border payments, right? What London is for Europe, what New York is for the rest of the world as a hub for payments, I think Lagos can be that hub for Africa, right? It is important to do that we must promote the Pan-African players who have originated out of Nigeria to help us solve cross-border payments. I feel that the innovators in the market can solve for the technology, but we need the regulator support to remove a lot of the friction and a lot of the barriers that makes it impossible for us to take those innovative products and services and solve Pan-African payments. I think we need to look at the banks in Nigeria that already have cross-border capabilities. They are in many countries, some of them in 12, some of them in 20-something, some of them in 30-something. Those banks should become the entities that manage our cross-border payment flows across the continent. We need to enable them. We need to promote them. We need to unshackle them. And if we do that, Africa can become the digital settlement hub for the whole of the continent. And we don't need to start far. Let's start from our immediate surrounding here and around West Africa. And I'll stop there.
Okay, thank you, Akim. Over to you, Jakaye. So how is CBN supporting sustainability and resilience in this transformation, particularly in payments infrastructure, financial inclusion, and digital security?
So for the infrastructure, what we are trying to get, CBN has this power, convening power. Yes. If I tell you how much of the scale of what we need in terms of infrastructure in Nigeria, not for Nigerians' consumption, but for Africa consumption, you won't believe it. So a lot of work had gone into that. Very soon you'll be seeing Central Bank trying to pull together industry participants that will help to shape these arrangements. Because we also believe that the infrastructure we have currently seems to be serving us, but it's just barely doing that. And from our understanding, it's going to grow. I mean, the volume of things we need to do is going to really grow. I'll give you an example. If you go and look at the volume of money in the system, the past 10, 20 years, they're in bulk, but those monies are going to get fragmented. When they get fragmented, on whose rails are they going to move? It's still the same. It's like, the way you can think about it is like icebergs. So those monies, if you look at CBN's balance sheet, you see those chunks of trillions. Eventually, some of those icebergs are going to melt. And it doesn't matter that you have 1 billion. After a while, it gets fragmented. On whose rails are those? You understand my point? So, and the melting is coming very soon, sooner than we think. So that's one of the things I was alluding to, that sometimes when you see central bank like almost pulling the industry to go and set up some infrastructural, it may be expensive and so on, but It's because of those things that are coming. That's on infrastructure. Of course, we won't do all of this without hinting and getting inputs. But the convening power of CBN, we hope, will be able to help. Like you mentioned NCC, there are collaborations, high-level collaborations, signing of proper documents and so on that we're doing, so that that is not a problem. The traditional financial industry and then the telcos, rivalry and so on would be a thing of the past. But we really need to pull together. The management is they are top on that. If we sign all of those MOUs, I think it will cascade down to collaborations down the line. Yes. For the issue of security, well, security is everybody's business. We are hoping that we would get the industry to cooperate. You see some regulations around BVN now and watch lists that would, we hope to close the gaps that we see in BVN and watch list regulation. We're going to review everything, but in the interim, because a lot of fraud incidents are going on around that space. So you see that we'll try and address that. So hopefully, in the before Q1 next year, you'll see some of these changes. We just hope that you'll be cooperative enough, because we don't want to be chasing people to comply. Because the way we frame these things, I'm telling you, is our interest. It's just like what you were saying. It will be in the business interests of the industry to comply, because there will be more trust, there will be more to go around, and it helps the ecosystem as a whole.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jake. So in the interest of time, I have two more questions. I think we can just take a chip at it, maybe 2 sentences, both yourself and Akim. So Akim, I'll start with you. What trends or policy shifts do you foresee shaping the next 5 years of financial services in Nigeria and across Africa?
Okay. Let me just say one, right? So when we think about payments and digitized payments, there are still a number of industries that have not been digitized and therefore don't have digitized payments, right? Industries like transportation, industries like agriculture. Those industry verticals are in urgent need of frameworks, policy directions, not just at the central bank level, but even at the fiscal level, to solve the digitization of those industries so that cash will stop flowing in those circles and become more digitized. It will accelerate what we are trying to do.
So maybe 2 words.
Okay. I don't want to sound cliche because I'm not, but I'll just say it. Artificial intelligence. And this is what I mean. The computing power that is necessary to power the kind of payment systems that we need. Nigeria needs to build it. So, in the next 18 months to 5 years, this is one of the areas we need to focus on. Computing power. And you would see it you see some of our regulations now. It's there. It looks hidden, but in another 2-3 years, you read it again. Okay, this is what they're saying. I think it will shape and shift everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So finally, just one sentence. What actions would you recommend, whether as a policymaker or an industry player, to ensure Nigeria sustains its momentum in digital transformation? So just one word from you and one word from Hakim.
Okay. He's our host now. Let him speak last.
Okay, Hakim, you go first.
No, let him speak last. Yes, let me just speak. If we want to sustain this, we need to shift from where we are. We need to go a bit out of our comfort zone. It's like it's not, before we can serve Africa the way we want to, we need to organize ourselves in a way that would enable us do it without stress. So the way we are organized currently may not be as sustainable as we should be. Some of the fintechs are trying, Interswitch, try and decentralize some of the capabilities. You mentioned some of the things, the banks, the way the banks are using those rails are important. Those partnerships, that collaboration. If we don't go that route, where we cooperate, we are competitors, but we cooperate and use those rails, Nigeria may just lose that edge. It's like a knife that has lost that sharpness. So just my comments. So let my...
Thank you. Thank you very much, Director. I think my final word is beware. We need to beware of unintended consequences. Right? For the regulator, we need to beware of unintended consequences of regulation, because sometimes regulation is written to address a purpose, but it creates a different problem. As industry players, we also need to beware. We need to beware of non-compliance, because it has an impact on the entire industry and will have an impact on you when the regulator comes with their big hammer. We also need to beware of driving without brakes, right? So we need to beware. And I think the way to address that really is what it is that we're doing today. The dialogue, the collaboration, the engagement, all the tools that we're creating to make sure that industry, regulation are speaking together, innovation and compliance are coming together, will be the tools to make sure that we do not fall into any of these traps. So we need to beware.
Okay, thank you, Hakim. And thank you very much, Ajake, and thank you very much, Hakim, for such an insightful and engaging conversation. Today's discussion has shed light on the delicate yet powerful balance between policy and innovation, and how both must move in harmony to sustain the momentum of Nigerians' financial transformation. A key takeaway is that collaboration remains our greatest catalyst as we navigate evolving policies, emerging technologies, and shifting market realities. The future of financial services in Nigeria will depend on the continuous dialogue, shared vision, and mutual trust between regulators and innovators. Indeed, sustaining momentum is not just about adapting to change, it's about anticipating it, shaping it, and doing it together. Thank you once again to our speakers, and thank you everyone here at TechConnect 5.0 for being part of this important conversation driving the future of digital finance in Africa. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. We're going to stand over here for pictures. Thank you so much. Smile. while we're redecorating, thank you to our speakers. We're going to have another product showcase. Remember that if you haven't scanned our QR code yet to see all the products that Interswitch has available and wants to discuss with you today, please scan the QR codes on your agenda. We're going to play one more product. We're going to play the video for one more product before our next panel session.
What just happened now?
Oh, she just tapped and paid.
Oh, really? So that means you can start paying his card, just tapping.
Yeah, you can.
That's great. Okay, thank you.
And it's very easy.
That's good. Okay, I'm going to go to my bank to make inquiries.
That would be nice.
Tokenization is a secure feature that turns your card, phone, or wearable device into a safe payment token so you can pay with just a tap, anytime, anywhere. Powered by Interswitch.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you doing today? Please, I want to make an inquiry. So, before coming here, I just saw someone tapping on the POS and transaction was made with the phone and with the debit card. Please, I would like to know, how does it work? Okay. 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 Okay, so how do I start? Okay.
Tokenization is a secure feature that turns your card, phone, or wearable device into a safe payment token so you can pay with just a tap, anytime, anywhere. Powered by Interswitch.
How did he pay? Oh, we use the wearable, but you can actually use your card or what tap. Are you serious? Yeah.
Tokenization is a secure feature that turns your card, phone, or wearable device into a safe payment token so you can pay with just a tap, anytime, anywhere. Powered by Interswitch.
Money. We see it move. We see it move swiftly, securely, intelligently. But by itself, money has no meaning. Until ingenuity turns it into solutions. Compassion turns it into a gift. And curiosity into innovation. With it, passion and dreams build incredible things. Belief builds impossibilities, even the future itself. And connection. Connection reminds us how to be human. How to stay human. At Interswitch, we don't just move money. We keep people moving, so that when it matters the most, you don't lose out on the moments. Interswitch. Never stop.
Ladies and gentlemen, hope you're enjoying yourself today. I said, hope you're enjoying yourself today. All right, please look at someone and just give them a big smile quickly. Give someone with a big smile and tell them that you're enjoying yourself today. So, what we've just seen are some of the products that Interswitch has, and one of the first ones that was showcased is tokenization. And like we already heard during the chat, you wonder, how is this very safe? And Interswitch has made sure that it has partnered with the right people to make this very possible. There are vaults that are involved when it comes to tokenization, making sure that the PANs that are encrypted on these devices do not get into the wrong hands. Also, you can see that some of the things that were displayed...
Another invoice, another headache. Core banking from one provider, mobile app from another, card services somewhere else, and good luck getting them to talk to each other. By the time you are live, you are already exhausted and expensive. There is a better way, and it is Interswitch Mobile Banking as a Service, Embers. One platform that has everything included. With Embers, your digital branch goes live in weeks, not months. We handle the heavy lifting, integrations, and headache, so you can channel your energy where it truly matters, growing your customer base and scaling your business. From day one, your customer gets a full digital experience. Features include easy login, account opening, instant loan request, secure card services, real-time transfer, and many more. Embers is everything you need, from core banking to mobile app and all the required support. Secure your market position, grow your customer outreach, and control your costs. Choose the proven complete solution. Choose Interswitch Mobile Banking as a Service, one platform, one partner.
Financial institutions don't fail because they lack vision. They struggle with how to innovate quickly, scale efficiently, and deliver seamless customer experiences. But guess what? At Interswitch, we understand these challenges. For over 2 decades, we have powered Africa's digital payments ecosystem, connecting banks, fintechs, and businesses to the infrastructure that drives growth and inclusion. Now, we are taking it a step further with Interswitch Payments as a Service and Interswitch Banking as a Service, two innovative solutions designed to empower financial institutions to do more with less. Interswitch Payments as a Service, IPaaS, is a cloud-based, fully managed platform that enables banks, fintechs, and regulated financial entities to deliver reliable, secure, and scalable payment services without the cost or complexity of managing infrastructure. With IPaaS, organizations can issue cards, process payments, and manage settlements seamlessly. Access APIs that enable digital wallets, collections, and disbursements. Integrate easily with core banking systems and third-party applications. Leverage Interswitch's robust infrastructure, uptime, and compliance framework, trusted by leading institutions across Africa. Interswitch Banking as a Service, IBAS, on the other hand, gives institutions the power to launch or expand digital banking capabilities with agility. It provides a modular, API-driven platform that supports account origination and onboarding, deposit lending and transaction management, customer identity and KYC services, integration with national payment rails and fintech ecosystems. With IBAS, you can focus on innovation and customer engagement, while Interswitch handles the technology, compliance, and scalability. The value is clear: speed to markets, operational efficiency, regulatory confidence, and customer satisfaction. Partner with us to transform how your customers pay, bank, and grow. Let us talk about what you could be launching next.
By the time you see the damage, it's already too late. Globally, fraud losses have grown alongside rapid technological advancement and digital transformation, while innovation has improved payments and online transactions. It has also created new opportunities for cyber criminals. Businesses lacking advanced fraud prevention tools are often the hardest hit, facing financial losses and reputational damage. That's the hard truth about financial crime today. Fraudsters don't wait. They test, they adapt, They move faster than manual reviews ever could. And while your team is investigating yesterday's incident, there are already 3 schemes ahead. Every channel is a door, and fraudsters only need one to be unlocked. Interswitch, a leader in digital payments, addresses this challenge with its fraud detection and prevention solution. Proactive Risk Manager, PRM, a cutting-edge platform that uses analytics and real-time monitoring to detect and prevent fraudulent activities, helping organizations stay secure in an increasingly digital economy. PRM is a comprehensive fraud and financial crime management platform that monitors every transaction across your entire organization from a single unified view. No more blind spots, just complete visibility and instant action. Using machine learning, adaptive analytics, behavioral profiling, and intelligent risk scoring, PRM doesn't just detect fraud, it monitors, predicts, and prevents it. We're talking enterprise monitoring. Every channel, every transaction, hundreds of data points analyzed in real time to spot what doesn't belong. Risk orchestration connects to external sources like biometrics, identity verification, telecom data, and takes automated action. Block, decline, flag, or hold. Analytics and rules engine. Your analyst creates and deploys fraud rules through a simple interface, no coding. Machine learning, models that learn your customers' behavior and evolve as fraud tactics change. Network intelligence, share fraud trend data across institutions without exposing customer information. Flexible deployment and integration. Customers notification. Fast and comprehensive reporting, and so much more. This is a time where fraud doesn't sleep. Neither should your defense. Let's talk about keeping your business and customers safe with Proactive Risk Manager, PRM.
I thought we would clap for all these videos, or I thought we would be impressed by all these videos. Please clap, 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 clap. I'm going to take my time coming up these stairs. You need to clap and encourage me. Clap for me, clap for Interswitch. Thank you so much. We've had interesting conversations on stage today. I wanted to just remind of one clear thing that I learned from the conversation on stage with the fireside chat. So, beloved, please turn to your neighbor. Neighbor, compliance makes innovation safer. Just say safer and faster. Safer and faster. That's what I got from fireside chat. So that's it. TLDR, you don't need to read anything else. That's it. Now we're going to go further into compliance. We're going to talk about de-risking compliance in our next panel side chat. For anyone that doesn't know, my name is Chidi. I'm in the compliance space, so I'm excited to be here. I'm learning so much. But I am also a famza of very, very powerful women. If they are powerful, if they are intelligent, I want to be their friend. If they now have perfect style, I want to know who their tailor is. And so, I am excited to announce the moderator of our next panel, Oremei Aka. She is the Chief Customer Officer of Interswitch Group. She has over 18 years of experience spanning payment processes, cards, and products. She's one of the day ones. She has been with Interswitch since 2002. Please clap for that. Big on education, MBA, has a few awards, division head. I'm sure you respect as I'm moving. Yeah? Are you feeling it? You're feeling it. I understand you. Thank you. So, Oreme, she's going to introduce her panel, and she's going to introduce her panel members. Please enjoy the conversation. Please clap for her.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If you're having a good time at Interswitch TechConnect 5.0, please put your hands together. Thank you. On behalf of Interswitch, we again welcome you. I am so glad to be here. You know, when you look across Africa, you cannot miss the energy. The fast growth, you know, the fintech space that in the last few years pulled in over $4.5 billion in investment. That speaks of non-stopping growth. Yes, we deserve a round of applause. But you know, as growth scales, so does risk scale. From everything, consumer protection to data privacy and the underlying fabric of our network, which is trust, will be threatened if we do not put the right pillars in place as we grow. And that is why the next panel is going to sagaciously unpack the topic of de-risking innovation with regulatory compliance and strategic partnerships for growth. We're going to talk about the needed balance between acceleration and accountability, collaboration and competition, and regulation with resilient growth. So without further ado, I'll introduce my panel members. I'll start with the very first person, Mr. Ajibade Laolu Adewale. Can we put our hands together? He is the Chief Partnership and Ecosystem Officer at Wema Bank. Ajibade, a friend of the house and the industry, is also the chairman of the Committee of E-Business Industry Heads, known as CB. Ajibade, I welcome you to the panel. Thank you so much. Next, we'll be welcoming Dr. Harrison Naji. Dr. Harrison is the CISO, Chief Information Security Officer at First Bank. He is joining us on this audacious panel, and we look forward to his contributions. And next, we'll be welcoming Griffith Eheba, my colleague, the Executive Vice President at Interswitch, Group Risk and Information Security Officer at Interswitch. Let's put our hands together for Griffith. Thank you. Also a friend of the industry and, of course, a dear colleague of ours at Interswitch. And as always, and with no gender bias, I save the best for last because, well, she's a lady like me. We'd like to put our hands together for Celestina Appeal, the Group Head, Card Business and Solutions at Zenith Bank. Another well-respected friend of the industry, and Interswitch holds our relationship with Celestina very, very dearly. So again, I'd like to welcome my panelists, and we look forward to deconstructing and taking apart this lovely topic that we have before us. De-risking innovation with regulatory compliance, strategic partnership, and looking at growth. Thank you and welcome again. All right, I'd like to go right into the conversation. I know that we are running behind, and so we'll be starting. I just want to confirm, can you check that your mics are working and we are fine? Thank you, we're good. All right, awesome. Awesome, great. And so, Ajibade, well, just because you are right beside me, I'll start with you, of course. Now, of course, we know that innovation is exciting, like we said, but innovation without compliance is chaos. And compliance without innovation is stagnation, and we don't want either of that. So how do we find that sweet spot in the middle? And I'll start with you, Ajibade, as I said, as an industry leader. How can regulatory compliance be approached as an enabler and not as an obstacle to innovation and growth in the financial ecosystem? Based on your experience, right, how can we balance that? Thank you.
Thank you, Remy. And I hope you were all listening when Waye and Akim were talking, because they've answered all the questions. So I'll just be reminding you what they said that time so that you can pick it. the question to me is simple. How can regulatory compliance support, enable innovation? And Akim said everything. Should be you were listening. Correct. Since you are listening, I don't need to answer anything again. Is that correct? I'm only joking. But then again, it's important that we should take away the myopic eye that we use to look at compliance. Most times when we are building products, we see compliance as a stopper. Meanwhile, in reality, if we can demonstrate compliance or claim to be, not even claim, demonstrate compliance and be big on compliance, what that does is that it helps to reduce the time it takes for us to deploy a product to the market. It also helps the investors to see us as a compliance organization so that in putting funds into our business, they will know that we have ticked all the boxes. And then, of course, the consumers that are taking over those products, once they see that this organization appears or looks like or is demonstrating compliance capability, adopting such products will not be a big problem for them. And so I think compliance to a large extent, somebody talked about why you have brakes on cars. So you think that brake is supposed to slow down the vehicle. In reality, because the driver knows that anytime I face a problem in front, I can easily apply brakes. So it can speed as high or as high as it wants to. I'm not saying that you should overspeed, because overspeeding kills. But then again, what I'm trying to bring out of that is that once you have factored in compliance into your process flow as an organization, it's easy for you to scale that business. So compliance doesn't kill innovation. Rather, it helps to fasten the adoption and the confidence that the general public thinks about innovation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ajibade. Compliance does not kill innovation, but rather it helps to build trust with your customers and even your investors. Thank you. And with that, I'll be going straight to you, Celestina. Celestina, from your experience leading the card business of such a massive organization like Zenith Bank, what are the most common challenges that you have faced when trying to scale innovation within the regulated environment? What kind of challenges have you faced from your personal, practical experience? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oreme. Yeah, we all know that one major challenge we'll face is that as innovators, as business people, you want to hit the road and be running.
Yes.
Because competition, the industry is not waiting for you. So customers are not going to wait for you. And if you don't go live on time, they will go to the next person. Even the market will shift. So there's this tendency, there's always this rift between business and compliance. Business tends to see compliance as an enemy. But the real fact is that what we see is that when business goes against compliance and they run very fast to go and deploy, they will come back to square one. Because if you don't carry compliance along, you will run fast and you will hit the road and you will come back to square one, because you will now be faced with regulators. You will now be faced with some risk issues that you would have missed without bringing compliance. So it's important you bring compliance first at the point you are starting, so that you will get it right. You will fill up all the potholes before you go live on that product.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Celestine. And I'll stay with you at this point. And I'll say, as we wrap up this particular segment, again, from your experience, how can technology and data play a key role in mitigating compliance risk while still driving collaboration, right? Just like Ajibade described.
Yeah, well, technology is very, very important, because today most compliance processes are pretty manual. So that's why we have this problem of delays. Okay, so before they start checking KYC and all those things manually, market has moved. So technology comes with data. And if they can apply technological solutions and AI, they will be able to do all these things immediately. You don't even need to start waiting. There are solutions for KYC, KYB. There are solutions you can use for driving all these processes. So what we need to do as business people, if we can partner with the compliance people driven by technology. Even CBN that we used to think was, delays in a lot of things. Today, they have imbibed technology. When they come for audits, you see they are doing technological-based audits. So it's so the same way, if our compliance people can imbibe technology, AI-driven solutions, they will not drag business back. We'll all work together and achieve the set targets together.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Celestina. And now, of course, trust is the backbone of compliance, trust. And cybersecurity is where trust gets tested on a daily basis. So, Dr. Harrison, I come over to you. I can see you're already smiling already. Thank you. From your perspective, what are the key cybersecurity threats impacting our industry today in Nigeria and, of course, across Africa?
Okay, thank you. And
Thank
again, thank you to Interswitch and the regulator and everyone that is attending today. It's actually an awesome experience.
We're happy to have you.
So first is, there are different, I always say, in maybe my next life, I should just be a farmer, right? Because this is one interesting career where every threat has remained. I always compare it during the COVID, where once there's a new variant, nobody talks about the old variant. But you have issues that have been there for 50 years that are still potent if you're not addressing them. And you can trifurcate it into three. There's threats that focus on customers, okay? So that's where you'll begin to talk about the phishing, the smishing, the quishing, the vishing, yeah? Even the outright theft, the SIM swap and all that. Then you also have threats that focus on the employees of the organization, okay? Which again, another level of phishing, but this again just targeting on credentials, okay? And you see things like Trojanized gifts, okay? That in this conference, I can actually package gift cards, digital cards, and share on behalf of Interswitch. Do you understand? And customers target particular organization, they could take it back and then slot it into the system and I am in. Then you have threats that focus on the organization itself. That's where hacking comes in. Things like ransomware, account takeovers, things like pure cross-site scripting, all kind of attacks then focusing on the back. So what we've seen is like, we are now in December, we call it the red zone, right? Because people still need to drive G-Class this year. And some of their account balances are 100,000 as we speak. Do you understand? So now you find people just looking at compromising the vulnerabilities of people, right? One of them being the fact that we all believe that good things will happen to us, right? And we can get gifts, and we can buy things online, right? And this is the moment where you need to begin to target people looking for discount, 99% discount, right? And I always say once you pay, you are paying for what you're buying, then you're exchanging the value for your card details. That's how it works, okay? So we have, then the major one is insider threats. And I have seen insider threats now grow into a monster. Exploiting assurance functions, exploiting pen testing companies, and exploiting consulting companies. Yes, exploiting every person that you could have trusted. So people now legally, with authority, ask for data that will be used to exploit the organization while wearing another cap. That's where it's gotten to. It's gotten to move from an era where people are under pressure, people are people are forced into it. You now have people that go to school, get trained, get knowledge, get employable, gets into the organization carrying 2 ID cards. One for the organization and one for the cyber criminal. The interesting thing here to close is that you will rarely find them wanting. They will be high performing, they will be obedient, they understand the system, they're knowledgeable, and at the same time, they experience cyber criminals. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. You've done a great job in unpacking the key threats that we are seeing in our industry today. And so I'm going to stay with you because I think as you have put it, and I'm sure some people's heart has done kukum, you know, and all kinds of God help us kind of thoughts have gone through our minds. I'll say, what steps, therefore, will you recommend as an expert for financial institutions to put in place to boost their cybersecurity defenses and foster a secure environment for growth?
Okay, thank you. Let me say, if you ever gone to any house, by just looking at the security house, you know whether it's an afterthought or was part of the design, right? I've actually seen a security house that was behind the building. So you need to horn for the security one to come back of the building to attend to the gates. So you just know that was an afterthought. So what do we continue to see? I mean, once you embed it, whether you're talking about privacy by design, you're talking about compliance, I have been in cases where you throw up a vulnerability and somebody says, no, I don't have 2 weeks to fix this issue. Then you ask, how long has this project been on? 2 years. So it means that if this was embedded, you actually had too many 2 weeks within that 2 years, and this issue could have been seen and fixed. So first is we need to begin to adopt zero trust. So you don't trust anybody. One of the books I read, a lot of them, was James Hadley Chase. The Last Laugh is the classic case. Because the truth is that the MD can actually be the criminal or be the one behind the gang. Anyone, when you hear that banks are robbed and 200 billion, 100 billion, 50 billion is taken, that's no joke. That's no joke. So first is that adopt zero trust, where you trust no one. Trust must be earned. It's not like in the previous way where you hand over trust and expect the person to protect it. Now you have to ask the person to prove that trust every time. Then we need to begin to embed things into the process so that as we are having that conversation, we are asking the compliance guy, what will compliance require? What will security require in this design? So it can be designed in and you can shift to the left. I have seen that work far better. Then we need to come to threat intelligence sharing. You cannot experience everything alone. The world is too limited, the time is too limited that you can experience everything alone. So you'll be able to share. It's really very heartbreaking sometimes when the same thing happens to multiple organizations. Yes. And you could say this could have been prevented. So info sharing is key. Then we also need to look at resilience. You can't always be able to prevent everything. So you need to be able to say, what if it happens? What do we need to know? And one of the things I see happen is where we continue to focus on the downside of risk. And I mean, examples have been given about car brakes, right? Yeah, that was the downside of risk is that you want to stop unplanned events, right? But there's upside of risk. That if I trust my braking system, the only reason we have fast cars is because braking system work. That's the only reason. If I trust my braking system, then I can also increase my speed. Yes. I can innovate faster. Yes. I've seen there are organizations that are off the cloud. Zero cloud presence, even though they use Gmail to start with. That's a story for a different day. But because they couldn't handle the issue, then that comes to empowered workforce. Sometimes you'll find out that what you know is your biggest problem. So on training is actually becoming more important than training. Being able to decongest and de-emphasize what people already know. That I need to carry 5 from one table to another table to another table to 5 tables. Do you understand? Yes. Before I get things done, I want to digitalize it and nobody will see this and it will just happen. Do you understand? I need to do 2-factor authentication, but I have robots. Do you understand? I need to do maker checker, but I have robots. So being able to retrain the compliance or the security officer to now understand how to achieve the same outcome in the current circumstance is also very key. Then partnership is also very key. because then you are not able to build all the capabilities that you need. You then need to partner with people that have established capabilities. And then the last point I will just add there is continuous monitoring. You know, the truth is that identity is the new perimeter. Everybody is the organization. Once people begin to, you have only one branch. The truth is that you have 400 branches. As many branches are the. So you need to now have a way to continuously monitor the activities of the employees, the activities of your interested partners. So you can have a way to measure, because what you can't monitor, how then do you measure or manage? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, it's clear that trust and identity to manage risk. So, Griffith, I'll come to you now. From an Interswitch perspective, supporting the bank, supporting the fintech, supporting the corporate, even government, what is the current level of cybersecurity maturity that you will say you've seen across our industry in Nigeria, even in Africa? And are we making meaningful progress, especially as AI-driven fraud has become more and more sophisticated? So what will you say from your experience? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Remy. Thank you, Harrison, and the industry. I would just like to start from where Harrison dropped it. He said a lot about solutions and building trust. It comes at a cost. Needs shy away from building the rails. I once heard one CFO say, you cannot boil the ocean. So why do you want to reinvent the wheel? But there is a conundrum. The people that would have trusted have also been breached. 2 years ago, after the COVID, to make reference, if you had asked me to rate the industry, I would say of a 1 to 5, where 5 is very resilient and excellent, and 1 is very low, I would have said 4 over 5, based on what we have all spent trying to build security into our systems. On fraud levels, I would have said 3 over 5, based on the dropping rates of frauds that we saw. But what we see today, it looks like the goalposts have moved. It looks like the target has moved against us. People have now, without rehashing what he said about people now being trained to come inside the organization with the right tools that you have given to them to do what is right, now working against you, what I now see is a 2 over 5. So it looks, if you remember the equalizer on the DJ's equipment, where the high frequency is going up and coming down, cybersecurity is that terrible. The speed at which where you think you were comes down can mean a whole lot to the industry. If I just check a bit of statistics, last we checked, each of the organizations that are sitting here, we've seen about 4,000 direct and targeted attack against each one of us every day. 4,000. If you splice it up and extrapolate this across even the 5 companies sitting on this table, you can imagine how much of it we can track and catch. So that's where we wanted to involve technology. Celestina had said, please, compliance team, risk teams, embrace technology. When I read sometime before I joined Interswitch that Interswitch was EMV ready by 2007. By then, in the banks, we were about to go for trainings for EMV. We still had mark stripe everywhere. So there are people that have built infrastructure that we could rely on to scale from there to what we require today that Celestina spoke about. People that have strong back office. People that have strong rails that you can rely on. One of the products that was displayed today talked about the PRM, where you put in fraud and cybersecurity detection in line with what the customer wants. Because cybersecurity and fraud typically would have done the rules of exception. to maybe detect frauds. Today, what do we see as a solution or a pathway to deal with this? This is not a product roadshow. I would rather just rest it at the point where I think today we have seen from the underworld, the bad guys, Harrison, 192% adoption of fraud tools. They have reverse engineered the fraud tools that you thought you knew, and they want to come back to you to use the same rule that you think you know to attack you. So what do we do with the rails that are existing? We continue to re-innovate. We continue to re-engineer. But while you are re-engineering, put risk and compliance first. If you spend that money now to untrain and train, to build resilience into your planning, and design out the exception that you are waiting for the tool to detect. Apart from moving faster, you will arrive safely. All right, I'll stop here.
Thank you so much, Great Faith. And you helped us even start and respond to the question on what Interswitch can offer to the ecosystem as a partner enabler. So as we round up, I'll come back to you, Ajibade and Celestina, for final thoughts on all the things you've heard from the in this event, in this program, even on this panel. Ajibade, you sit on a very reputable, as the chairman of CB. And I will say, as final thoughts, what will you say as that ecosystem leader driving that body of, knowledge of ecosystem players? What will you say are those frameworks or partnership advantages that you can already see in helping us stand strongly against fraud, but still empower growth? Thank you.
Thank you, Remedy. And I think this is a good start. Interswitch has done this for the 5th year running. And part of the things we need in this industry are seminars, webinars, and gatherings like this, whereby we will jointly come and give each other knowledge about what is going on. I actually enjoyed the session from Grift and Harrison. From a compliance perspective and a security perspective, they spoke so well. So I think kudos to Interswitch from that perspective. We also need to strengthen the joint working committees in the industry, within the organizations and in our relationship with third parties or partners. So interoperability, we need to carry everybody along. Most times we appear to work in silos, and I don't really blame us from the business perspective to the product perspective and to the compliance perspective. At times, the compliance and security people do like witches and wizards. Let's not lie. But then again, let's bring it together. It's about the organizations. There must be trust in that communication. There must be transparency. We must be sincere with ourselves. Okay, I need to meet my numbers from a business perspective. From a product perspective, I need to meet my numbers as well. We have all agreed that the reason why they have brakes in vehicles is not to stop that vehicle from moving. It's for them to fly as high as they want, knowing fully well that whenever they see an obstacle that can cause an accident in front, they can easily mash the brake. So you as enablers or compliance and security, you should guide us, help us, and not look as if you want to stop our businesses. We also need to move away from that regulation as an obstacle to regulation as enablers. So before you start a product, you bring in the compliance. I like that analogy of if you have to get to a house and the security house is at the back, at the big queue, you know that from day one is an afterthought. You have to on for that gate man. That's a beautiful one. You have sense, You have to call in that security to come outside. And I think that applies to most of us in building our products. We need to ensure that the gateman house is the first to be built, and it's in front where everybody can see that inside this house, in fact, beyond that security house, you should put beware of Rottweilers. If you say beware of dogs, they will think it's Beanie dog, bingo. But beware of Rottweiler. People are aware that, oh boy, don't even come here. Then there's Mopo, there's everybody. Just write it in front. So that's what we are trying to say here, that make compliance as part of building the product, make compliance as part of building the business. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Celestina, the final word will come from you, from a business lens and a customer lens, because leading the card business, you are dealing with retail customers. What will you say is the final word for how we can partner with regulation, compliance to drive growth and safety for our customer business? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Remy. So one thing we have to do as organizations, we need to avoid silo functions. So to build, from the very start you are building up your products to satisfy customers, we need to form cross-functional teams, including the risks, compliance, IT, internal control, even legal. Everyone come together from the very start. Not when you have developed your products, you come back and start calling risks and compliance. Bring all of them together, develop the products together, so that everybody will see from their own side of it. The legal will tell you the legal aspects, internal control will come in, risks will see the risks from beginning, and compliance will see what does CBN say about this. They can start getting the approvals or seeing how to mitigate all those risks before we even commence the products. That way, we'll ensure that the customer gets the best product that is risk-free, void of fraud, and every loophole is taken care of. Another thing we need to do is communication. We need to create awareness about fraud. We need to create awareness about compliance issues. I know CBN is doing a lot about that now, but we need more, at least from the regulators. We need the regulators to start even informing customers. I know they are calling the consumer protection is telling customers to come to them, but in advance, CBN also needs to join hand with all the industry to say, how do you protect yourself from fraud? So if this information goes out right from the regulator to everyone, we'll all be informed and we'll have a beautiful products that are fraud-free. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we're done with this panel, and you will agree with me that these panelists did a great job in breaking down the topic, de-risking innovation, right? And the summary of what we said today is innovation without compliance will not last. And compliance without innovation will also not lead. So the sweet spot is where we find that middle ground where trust can actually meet progress. So this is a call to all of us, not just for Nigeria, but like Akim said, Nigeria is not just, Lagos and Nigeria are not just a nation on their own, but we are actually a hub. We are actually leaders that Africa looks up to. So as we discuss collaboration and discuss a future, a safety future where we can grow and sustain that growth because it's built on compliance, let us not just think of our local markets. Let's think of Africa, because that is why we are standing here today. Thank you so much, and thank you to my panelists. Let's take a picture. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are we getting tired? This clap is not enough. Oh. With all the tea they dropped for us, let's clap for them. Let's clap for them. You see that I was right to farms you. You see, you did a great job. Thank you. What did you think of this session? Hi, everybody. Hi. Hello. Hello. Fantastic. Thank you. Boys, take this front table that said hi to me. Oh. Hi, people in the back. How are you? Fantastic. Hi, over here. Hello, ma'am. How are you? Thank you, sir. I haven't forgotten this end. How are we doing over here? Are we learning? Are we gaining insights? You know how you know you're in the right room? Giving examples, and you're like, the examples are not examples. Do you understand? Because when they were giving examples about cars and brakes, they didn't use RAV4 as the example. They didn't use Corolla, and Corolla has brake and RAV4. I can assure you, they use Ferraris and GLXs. So I know that I'm in the right place. If people can make those examples just like that, that means my own Ferrari is close by. I am excited. In fact, how did the young kids say it? The T was dropped this session. I like that there was use of imagery. I like the gatehouse imagery. I will forever remember the Ferrari imagery. I like learning how security is very, very close to compliance and how you must always plan for that. I also like that Celestina spoke about data, that sometimes the market moves and you have to try and catch up while keeping up with the security and the compliance and the revenue targets and everything else in between. Our next speaker deals in data. They are friends of the house. They have come for TechConnect before, and they are coming today representing Kanta to give a presentation on industry data and trends in Nigeria, Africa, and beyond. I would like us to welcome Akin Afere. He is the Associate Director of Client Services, Lead Consulting and Sustainability at Kanta. Please clap for him as he comes to give us a presentation from Kanta. Remember that our deal is they have to be here before we stop clapping. Let's not be tired. Let's not be tired. Encourage me to encourage you. Clap, clap, clap. Thank you, sir. Have a great session.
Good afternoon. Let me start by saying all protocols observed. And to say thank you to the Interswitch team for inviting us again to share some insights on innovation, collaboration, and compliance. It's a testament to our over 10 years partnership with the business. All right, next slide. Let's start. Time is. So let me start off by answering a question: where does innovation begin? So maybe if you bring the lectern, I can. I have just two hands, really. All right. Next slide. Great. Now, so we do this annual study called Africa Life that looks at consumers across the continent, trying to identify what the motivations, what the drivers are, right, in terms of their actions and their relationship with brands. Now, this is a snippet of the information from Nigeria, and I will share a couple of things relating to Nigeria. One of the questions that we ask every year is, what are the things that most concern consumers? Now, these are the responses from the respondents from the Nigerian market. Now, the top thing is the rising cost of living, right, followed by corruption in government, cost of education, the rising unemployment rates, crime and violence. There are other things there that may be of interest, mental health, impact of armed conflict, and so on and so forth, right? But this highlights the top things that Nigerians are concerned about in 2025. Next slide. Now, what is interesting is that while Nigerians are concerned about a lot of things, including the rising cost of living, what it has done, right, is that it has given rise to Nigerians turning to informal business, what we call the side hustle, as a start, right, in order to tackle that rising cost of living. And, one of the questions that we asked during the Africa Life study is, how would you describe your employment status? What has become interesting to us over time is that more and more, and for the first time this year, I believe, income from informal business is surpassing other streams of income across all of the age bands. Now, because the consumer is trying to adapt and adjust to that tightening within the environment. I'm going somewhere. Next slide. Now, when you break down that informal income, where it comes from, you find that it comes from the following areas. 25% of the respondents say that informal income comes from retail and sales. 20% say it comes from freelancing and online work, then agriculture and farming, food and beverage services, creative, and then education and online tutoring. Next. Now, what we are also seeing is the rise of what we call the digital hustler demographic. Now, that person is very resourceful, right? They are looking for value. They are also very aspirational. But with that rise in informal business and informal revenue, come specific financial challenges, right? There's that need for seamless, borderless access to income because it's informal revenue and a lot of the time it's digital, which means it's cross boundaries and cross borders, right? There's a need for credit and capital for growth, not survival. There's a big distinction. For growth, not survival. And then there's that need for tools for financial discipline and wealth building. Now, you should note this, that innovation that thrives always starts with empathy and insight. You need to understand who you are building for, not just what you are building. That's the first insight we'd like to share. You need to understand who you are building for. That's where innovation starts. Who are you building for? Not just what you are building. There must be a meet and a match with the two. Next. Next. Now, there's a mindset that comes with the innovative individual or innovative entity, right? And what we have seen with this study over the years is that there's a gradual shift in how innovation is now done. Next, just, right, before, we used to have a situation where we moved fast and we broke things. The focus was make the product market fit, growth at all costs, and then form few formal partnerships, and there was limited regulatory oversight. But there's an evolution that is taking place. And we've heard a lot about that during the course of this event. Next. Now we're in a situation where you move smart and you build trust. The focus here is long-term viability, ecosystem integration, risk management, and collaboration and compliance as enablers of scale. That's where we are at the moment. Next. And let me take a sidebar. There's a study that we did, and we do a study every year. We've been doing it for the past 20 years, called the Cantor Brands. It's a global study. And now we looked at the businesses that were identified as innovative in that study, right? And tried to drill down to things that were common to them. And there were 5 things that we noticed. I'll just touch on that briefly before we go on. And one of the 5 things are very straightforward. The fact that they think differently. They embrace curiosity. Now, the third one is particularly important. They connect purposefully, speaking to collaboration. And they do it early enough within the framework so that they can have impact. They learn, test, and learn again, and then they own the entire framework. Of course, that entire framework speaks to innovation, collaboration, and compliance. Next slide. Now, it is obvious to everyone in this room that fintechs can no longer operate in isolation. Success now requires partnerships. You can't do it by yourself, right? There's a need for partnership with banks in terms of liquidity, infrastructure, and licenses. Partnership with telcos because of distribution and customer reach. Partnerships in terms of regulators so that there's alignment on compliance networks. You see, compliance is no longer optional. It is a trust currency. Next. Next slide. And what you find is that fintechs with proper licenses and strong risk management will gain trust, while those that don't have those components may be forced out. The regulatory direction, in terms of what we are seeing, is support for innovation, but under prudent oversight in diverse areas. And these are a couple of areas where there is innovation and opportunity in terms of partnership with regulation, in terms of new licensing frameworks, in terms of compliance and governance, in terms of crypto regulation and all of that, in terms of data protection, in terms of fraud protection. We've spoken a lot about all of that, in terms of consumer privacy. Next slide. Now, what you find, we have a framework for our reputation framework. And what it shows is that the leading factors that contribute to overall reputation and trust a brand has within the market. Now, what you see is that users are essentially handing over their money to financial data to the fintech. And if there's sense that a company is no longer reputable, say due to financial scandal, misuse of funds, data breach, or simple poor customer treatment, they will flee, and it will often take years to earn them back. Now, building and keeping trust isn't accidental. And our Counterbrandsy study shows that businesses or brands with a strong corporate reputation, which is based on trust, right, will grow at a faster rate than brands that have weak reputation. It's a proven fact based from data over 15 years. So your trust is a very vital currency that you cannot play with within your sector. Next slide. Now, what is at stake? I mean, there's a cost to getting it right, but there's also long-term benefits. Let me just highlight this with 2 case studies quickly. I hope I'm still within time. 2 case studies quickly. The first is Nubank. It's a bank that was launched in Brazil. That's a market that is notoriously known to be notorious for banking bureaucracies, high fees, and low financial inclusion. Now, what was the innovation? They deployed a mobile-first model, which involves seamless onboarding, instant approvals, and real-time notification features. But what did they do correctly? They collaborated with regulators right from the very beginning, right? And they ensured that, all the banking partnerships and everything that needed to be in place was in place right from the beginning. And what did that translate into for them? It translated into over 20 million customers since the time the business started, right? The second, of course, is Wave. Wave is a Senegalese entity, right? So Nubank, is 100 million customers across LATAM. Now, Wave has grown to 20 million monthly active users across 8 markets. And they succeeded by breaking down the system, by building trust within it, and collaborating with regulators, again, from right from the beginning. To reemphasize what I said earlier, compliance is not optional. It is a trust builder, right? Next slide, and I think that should be the last one. Next slide. What's the pathway forward as we bring this to a close? There's a checklist for sustainable innovation, right? And it comprises of 4 things. Human insight, design around real needs and context. Innovation outside of context will fail, right? Secondly, compliance by design. Build regulatory thinking into the product process. Number 3, collaborate early. Co-create with banks, regulator, and ecosystem partners. That builds capacity within the industry, both vertically and horizontally. And then evolve the right mindset. Innovation is not speed alone. It's about sustainable growth and long-term viability. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akin. Thank you. Please keep clapping for him. Chidi already gave us the instructions. that we should not stop clapping till they sit down. Please, add a little bit more energy to it. You know, something very important that he said is innovation starts or it thrives with empathy. Next up, we have a product showcase where Interswitch is going to show you what their empathy has produced. Please, let's sit back, let's watch, let's take notes, and let's see how we're going to collaborate with this great organization.
A customer walks into a bank hoping to get a new card. Come back in a few days, they are told. Days turns into week. The customer is stuck in limbo while the bank juggles vendors, processes, and delays. What if card issuance could be instant, completely in your control? Introducing Interswitch Card Fusion Platform, the all-in-one web-based solution that lets banks issue, personalize, and activate cards in minutes. No bottlenecks, no inefficiencies, just smooth, secure, instant, right from the branch. With one centralized platform, banks gain complete oversight of the entire card issuance process, reducing waste, cutting costs, and boosting customer satisfaction. More efficiency, more revenue, more transactions. Because when banking moves faster, businesses grow stronger.
Not every fintech can issue cards. Until now, your customers need more than just wallets. They need cards that work everywhere, online, at ATMs, and in stores. But building the infrastructure can be difficult. Now, with our fintech card issuance solution, you can issue and manage cards without heavy investment, while we handle the back end. With our platform, you get full control. You're able to link accounts, manage PINs, block and unblock cards, all through seamless API integration. And when it comes to settlements, we make it simple. Transactions are reconciled daily, ensuring funds move exactly where they should, with full transparency. Disputes, no stress. Our self-service dispute platform, Abita, keeps things in check so you can focus on growth while we handle the details. It is the future of card issuance, built for fintechs like yours.
Interswitch Lending Service, ILS salary loans for institutions. Imagine this, it's mid-month. Ada, a hard-working salary earner, faces an unexpected expenses. Instead of panicking or turning to loan sharks, she simply logs into a QuickTeller platform, requests for a loan, and funds are credited straight into her salary account. That is the power of ILS salary loans. We make it easy for companies to give their employees access to safe, structured, and affordable credits, so no staff is trapped in debt cycles that could embarrass them or the company. Here's how it works. Companies partner with Interswitch through their HR or payroll provider. Employees are whitelisted on our lending platform. Employees request for loan, review offers from salary loan providers, and accept terms that suit them. Funds are disbursed directly into their bank accounts. Repayment are seamlessly handled either through automatic deductions from employees' bank accounts or via direct refund by staff through pay with transfer. The result? Employees have quick loan access to handle emergencies, invest in their dreams, or simply breathe easier before payday. Companies, in turn, demonstrate that they are committed to their people's success by providing real financial empowerment. Interswitch Lending Service is a platform for your staff to ease their financial stress, backed by you and powered by Interswitch.
All right, we can still clap. We can still clap. Also encourage me, encourage me. Beautiful. You know, when I was seeing that presentation just now, I kind of felt like Ada myself, right? Did we see Ada? How many of us remember Ada in that presentation, right? It's almost salary day, but something came up. You see, Interswitch truly empathizes with even the customers and provides the leverage for institutions also to ride on and empathize with every other person. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to be going into another panel discussion, but I also wanted to just say one thing that I learned from the last one. You see, when the description about cars and speed came up, I now started to understand a bit about compliance. And if memory serves me correctly, it just threw me back. And I remember one time I was on Third Mainland Bridge in Lagos here, Nigeria. I started going at a certain speed, but I wouldn't mention it because I'm on camera. And I was enjoying the cruise, you understand, especially when the AC is on. You don't even know how the engine is revving. But you see, as soon as I got to a certain speed, I heard a little voice in my heart say, "Are your brakes working?" Exactly what compliance is talking about. That you can go at a certain speed, but compliance is always trying to tell you, make sure that what? Your brakes are working. Even though Interswitch's own slogan is this, never stop. So don't press the full-on brakes, but do what? Try and do what? Slow down. So for this next session, I want to invite someone very interesting. I was thinking about how to introduce him, and I just thought about something quickly. You see, seeds can be in everybody's hands, but something is very important. Can you plant the seed? Can you nurture the seed? And can you see it fruit? The person I'm about to invite here to handle the next panel session is someone who is an expert at seeing things grow. He's well seasoned at nurturing things. He's currently serving as, I beg your pardon, please. He's currently serving, I beg your pardon. He's currently serving as the Business Growth and Innovation Officer for the Interswitch Group, Business Technology, helping drive record-breaking revenue with expansion efforts across Africa. Please help me welcome on stage Chioyila Aga, who is the VP, Business Innovation and Growth. Please don't stop clapping, please.
Please keep clapping. Don't stop clapping till I get to my seat. Thank you very much. He pronounced my name quite well. I was wondering how was he able to manage it. So it's a pleasure to be here. And again, we want to welcome you especially to TechConnect 5.0. Clap. So we're going to be doing this talk show, this panel discussion together. So please pay rapt attention and have a unique opportunity of having a conversation with very seasoned and experienced people in our industry. So please, as I call their names to come forward, welcome them, because it's indeed a great privilege to have them come and share some of their thoughts with us. So please welcome Abidemi Asumo, who is Group Head for E-Business and Transaction Banking at Premium Trust Bank. Thank you for clapping. Also welcome Wale Williams, Chief Information and Technology Officer at Union Bank. Please help me welcome specially Obi Ematoram, MD, Zone Payment Network Limited. And then Chika Nwonsu, Managing Director, Palmpay Nigeria. I told you there's something special about this panel. And then one of our day ones. I'm sure you've heard so much about day ones in Interswitch. Please help me welcome Vincent Ogbunode, who is MD of Verve International. Keep clapping, keep clapping. It takes a lot to be day one. All right, so we're ready to start. And we're going to be having a very interesting panel conversation. And you would help me recite what the panel conversation is about. So I'm sure it's on our screen. So what's the panel discussion about today? All right, so thank you. Clap for yourselves. Clap for yourselves. You did it really well. All right, so innovation, as we know, has reshaped how we do business, how we pay. And every time I think about innovation, I remember a story growing up. I'm sure you've heard a lot of stories today from all our panelists. And one of the stories I remember vividly is my mom taking me to the bank to withdraw money. And when she goes to the bank to withdraw money, she would go first thing in the morning, maybe at 7:30 a.m. And when she gets there, there's already a long queue up to the door of the bank. And she's queuing up for just one thing. How many of you know what that one thing is? How many of you remember? Sorry? Tally number. And then once she gets the tally number, that's it. She just goes to work. And then returns at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. She already calculates that in that time, the queue would have gotten to her turn to get cash. And when you look at some of the amazing things we've done as an industry through the years to move that conversation beyond tally number to a lot of the interesting things you see around instant payments, is just so amazing. But with innovation comes compliance. Compliance is an important anchor which ensures stability, trust, and longevity. So one of the things we're going to try to do on this panel conversation is to move from viewing compliance as a constraint, but as an enabler. Is that a deal? So that's what we would hopefully achieve at the end of the session. So I'm going to start with amazing, interesting people. So I'll start with Wale Williams, and I'll just read Wale's citation. We all know Wale Williams. He's a seasoned technology executive, strategic advisor with over 2 decades experience shaping digital transformation in financial services. As Chief Information and Technology Officer at Union, he provides visionary leadership in architecting secure, scalable, customer-centric technology platforms that respond to evolving demands of Africa's financial and digital economy. Beyond Union Bank, clap, yes. Beyond Union Bank, Wale was chairman of the Education Initiative Working Group for the Central Bank Payment Systems Vision 2020. He is also an honorary member of the Chartered Institute of Banking and Deputy National Coordinator of Practical Artificial Intelligence Development in Nigeria. So I'll just ask Wale 2 quick questions, and we'll start with the first one. We're talking compliance as an enabler. What best practices can help fintechs and traditional institutions align innovation with increasing regulatory expectations? Wale.
Thanks, Toila, and thanks to the Interswitch team for inviting me to this. I mean, compliance is, the way I see it, is a subject less discussed. People talk about the trends, global trends in IT, you talk about AI, you talk about all of that, but this is one of a kind where the teams have gathered to discuss compliance. So, see the good one. Kudos to the Interswitch team. I think you deserve a round of applause. Now, having said that, I mean, all the speakers previously, everybody has spoken about the benefits of compliance, but I'm going to look at it in a different way. There is danger in overregulation, and I'm very happy our regulator is here, represented by Mr. Jakaye. We also need to look at a balance, and I think that's very important. There are a lot of benefits in compliance, but there is also the danger of stifling innovation, danger in restricting our sphere of innovation, especially with when the environment becomes overregulated. I think the takeaway for me to the regulator is we also need to maintain a balance. And how do we achieve this? We need to engage us more. The latest circular from the central bank on the ISO 2022, you begin to see people questioning, does it apply to cards? Is it only transfers and co? So let's look at, but having said that, I think as industry players, we need to begin to see compliance as something, as a kind of enabler to our business than a restriction. And I think I align with everybody, along that line. You begin to see compliance as a means of building trust. I come from a banking background, and the name of our business is trust. Compliance is a way of enabling this. For me, I see compliance as a way, what we do is what I call responsible innovation. And this is one of the things compliance, guide. I would throw a question to this room now. Did we know what happened 24th of October this year? Who can remind me? There was a major thing that happened to Nigeria 24th of October this year. Who remembers?
What happened 24th of October?
What happened 24th of October? Nigeria was removed from the grey list of the financial action, trade funds. That's a major one. That was a major showcase for the compliance function. And I think for the compliance people in this room, for people who participated in their various ways to ensure Nigeria achieved that, is a serious good deal. For me, that alone is enough positive for us to know that we have to begin to embed compliance in everything we do. One of the speakers said something about at what point do we begin to involve compliance. For me, it's right from the start, at the beginning. And I would like to stop here. Take away the fact that we have to embed compliance right at the beginning of defining whatever you are doing. At the same time, let's not forget the need to maintain a balance between the innovation and regulation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Wale. Can we give him a round of applause? He said so much in such a short time. And, some of the things that he's spoken about resonates with everyone in the room, which is this conversation around the balance with overregulation. It's come up many times, Wale. I've sat in panel conversations where I've actually been asked questions in that wise. But importantly, it's now the balance between regulation and innovation. So I think that came out quite succinctly. Let me just ask you a final question, Wale. Do opportunities exist for collaboration to turn compliance into a growth driver? What do you think?
Lots of opportunities. When you look at, and when you look at what I call the innovation stack, the various, within that ecosystem, there are very many opportunities where you can, collaborate. You look at what NIPS has done around the BVN space. That alone, what it did for blowing up payment system in Nigeria. That's the shared infrastructure. I think around that, even for compliance. Why don't we have today in Nigeria what I call a shared KYC platform, a shared address verification system in Nigeria where every player within that payment ecosystem can plug in. Today, we all build our silos. We all build different infrastructure to handle KYC, to handle AVR. So one major area where we think that collaboration can exist is in the area of shared compliance infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wale. I'll move quickly to Abidemi, and Abidemi is a seasoned financial expert driving value creation and digital transformation in the banking sector with a career spanning over 2 decades in retail banking, supply chain finance, branch operations, transaction, banking, retail, digital, and e-banking. She's currently group head of e-business and transaction banking at Premium Trust. She's an alumni of the Lagos Business School, and she has a key role in the committee of e-business industry heads. So quite an interesting portfolio that Abidemi has. So I would ask her, 2 questions. She said I've not said her key role, so I apologize for that. So she is the vice chairman, which is big, big, big. All right, so Abidemi, from a banking perspective, how is compliance evolving to support innovation and digital transformation?
All right, thank you, Toila. Thank you so much. And thank you to the Interswitch team for giving me this huge opportunity. Is evolved from the core function that we know. They've always been very reactive. But today, they're a key driver in any technology or innovation that we come up with as banks or financial institutions. I call them as the key catalysts for innovation. And just like one of the speakers said, they're always in front, the security door. And that's the approach that we have taken now as an industry. Before now, we sort of would have done everything in terms of product design and ideation before bringing them in. But I'm sure it's no longer that way in almost all of the institutions. I'll take a scenario where someone was sharing with me, and this is real life situation. It was a fantastic product. I think couple about 5 years, 6 years ago. Something that has not been done in the industry. The team responsible at that time kept everything in the wraps because the idea was, we want to go out big, and we don't want people to know about this. And this is even just within the team or within the group, and not even within the institution at that time. The product came out, and it was time to launch. It was at lunchtime that all the stakeholders, and in particular, I think compliance and settlements, started picking flaws into the product. They had almost agreed on the launch date and all of that. They had to go back. It was a product that had not been launched. I don't want to mention, it hadn't been launched before. By the time the person was sharing with me, it was so painful that if they had launched at that time, we probably would have changed what banking used to be at that time. So embedding compliance at the initial stage, and not just at the initial stage, almost in all of the stages is extremely important. Today, the way compliance has evolved, is such that even in our product processes, product design processes, there's the statement of work and all of that, we feel is somehow too cumbersome when we are going through all of that process. But through that process in terms of documentation, there are a lot of things that will be picked out from there, which will help us in delivering or identifying the issues and delivering the product on time. I think one of the things compliance has also done is the fact that in institutions today, we've leveraged on digital compliance tools to actually make a change in terms of online real-time monitoring of transactions. And of course, the benefit of that, I can't overemphasize. From the AML compliance tools that we all use, that is all automated now, and even identity verification solutions that are currently in place now, has made the industry go with the partnership with RegTex. The partnership with RegTex also has done a lot. The truth is that we don't have all of the capacity in-house. We need to partner. We need to work with all of these RegTech providers, and these RegTech providers will basically help us with automating regulatory functions and regulatory roles. I think with all of this and much more, it's clear that compliance is key. It has evolved, and it will continue to evolve. I think one last thing that I want to dwell on is about learning and training. So for banks, financial institutions, and not just for fintechs generally, you know, when we want to go for, especially the product team or business team, there's a new product, we want to talk about it, and we think about ourselves alone. And what do I mean by that? We don't think about what happened. Some institutions today would have gone for those foreign trainings without remembering that, oh, my compliance guy needs to go, my risk guy needs to go. I think we've moved past that now, and that role is extremely critical in ensuring that the trust that we...
Thank you very much, Abidemi. I'm sure that we're learning, you know, a lot just listening into the conversation. And interestingly, you know, she, in rounding up, answered the second question I wanted to ask her, right? But I'll just ask her so that she just expands on it, where she was talking about, you know, having a new product launch, and then you don't consider the full picture around it, you know, to involve all the relevant stakeholders, and you go ahead and launch that product without full compliance. So the second question is actually in that light, which is how can financial institutions balance innovation speed with regulatory discipline? So just expand on the product conversation a bit further to answer this question. Thank you.
It's really about collaboration, really. That word is very, very strong. Collaboration from all stakeholders, collaboration within the ecosystem and even beyond. In the financial sector, or maybe in the bank or in the fintech organization, that collaboration must exist in such a way that even at product ideation, you are embedding the key stakeholders, and most importantly, just because we're talking compliance, the compliance team and risk team needs to be part of it. You know, we talk about agile groups and the way we do agile project management. Sometimes during that ideation, we sort of also do forget them, even as we talk about agile group and our agility to be able to deliver products on time. When we collaborate more, it will be far, far better than what we have. The collaboration will also exist, not just within the institution. You know, when Wally was talking the other time, he also did emphasize that the regulators might also probably be over-regulating us. Yes, that is true. However, it's still around the collaboration where that conversation is happening as we are talking about that new product. In that way, they don't drag us back. That conversation, that engagement is also happening too. But I know there are also concerns because the truth is we are all in business and you want to hold some trade secrets. So, however, I think is in the approach to engagement as well as the approach to engagement and how you eventually deliver that product. The truth is that there are a lot of products there, but the execution will make a lot of difference when you are delivering your product. So I think we should not be so scared about collaborating because at the end of the day, it will benefit the whole ecosystem. Thank you.
Fantastic. It is one thing I've taken away from Abidemi's submission is collaboration. Okay, so we'll move quickly to Obi Ematorum, who's MD of Zone Payment Network, and he's a seasoned tech entrepreneur who has been at the forefront of innovation in the financial services industry, co-founder of Parkway Projects. He spearheaded the delivery of bespoke fintech solutions for Nigerian commercial banks. In 2008, he co-founded AppZone, which led, of course, to the development of groundbreaking technology. And he's also involved in pioneering the concept of regulated blockchain, which is an emerging technology. So can we give him a big round of applause? So would ask you two questions as well. So I'll start quickly with the first one, and it's how should the fintech community advocate for a co-creative relationship with regulators?
Okay, thank you very much. And a big thanks to the Interswitch team as well for the honor of being here. And so I think this is something that has come up even recently. You know, we're in a session with the leadership of the CBN, and it came up again. Banks have the Bankers Committee, which is a group that engages with the CBN periodically. I think it's monthly. And at those forums, they're able to look at regulatory direction, get input, and so on and so forth. And so this is something that I think the fintechs have also advocated for. And at that session, we raised it again to say, what is the equivalent of the Bankers Committee for fintechs? In a way that in those sessions, as the central bank is thinking about regulations to optimize the industry, early inputs can be gotten and feedback to shape the direction that those regulations would go. It's also useful for the fintech community as well, because there are times when there's a need to get an agenda going with the regulator, either to enable better, more agile innovation or one thing or the other. So I strongly believe, and this is something that many of our own colleagues in the fintech ecosystem share, that the equivalent of a banker is sort of fintech committee that would meet and engage at a senior level with the CBN, at least monthly, is something that would be very, very it would be very welcome. So that I think for that, yes.
Yeah, thanks for that really powerful contribution. That's a conversation that's been going on for many years, which is around, can we have a fintech equivalent of the Bankers Committee, which I'm sure we have CBN in the room, and CBN is listening again to that comment. Now, just a quick point, Obi. You know, just layering on that very powerful contribution. Are there other special frameworks or engagement models that would allow compliance to serve as a catalyst for secure innovation rather than a reactionary checkpoint? A lot of people see compliance as reactionary. Is there a framework or an engagement model that allows, fintech see it as a catalyst for growth?
Okay, yeah, so I would speak from our own experience, right? We're relatively innovative because we like to adopt new technology. And so what we've seen, like in getting new innovations past the regulatory approval process, what I've seen happen is sometimes with the new technology, the rules have not been defined clearly yet. This is new. But they're existing rules. And so what I advise best practice, especially to very innovative fintechs, is even though there's a rule, there is usually an essence of the rule, right? Like there's a deeper meaning of what risk the rule is trying to protect or prevent. And so in our own sort of success is engaging with the regulators, what we've done with those innovations is to make sure, first of all, that obviously we're not violating any clear compliance requirement, but also define the new innovation in a way that addresses the essence of the regulation, right? Even if the letter is not spelled out, that it addresses the essence of the regulation. So what this does, when you then engage with the regulators, typically you want to then approve those things. And then over time, those things get embedded back into the regulation. So what that does is, it then makes the conversation with the regulators more seamless. You would see that, because under compliance is risk, right? What compliance is with respect to regulations that have been defined to mitigate risk. So if defining the innovation is already mitigating the risks that these regulations are trying to prevent, then engagement with regulators, what you find is it's easier, and you can talk through the rationale for why this situation makes sense and does not generate the kind of concern that they have, and then it gets approved, right? So it speeds up the process of getting innovation out, and we have gotten some really radical, innovation out there, even in line with the regulators. So I know that that's the way it works.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll move quickly to Chika, who is the CEO of Pampe, who is a dynamic business leader, visionary, whose career is defined by innovation, strategic growth, and people-centered leadership. Before Pampe, he built a successful career in tech and communication sectors, holding key leadership roles at Huawei and Transsion. Can we give him a big round of applause? So I'll just ask the question very quickly, and it's for innovators. How can innovators achieve scalable growth by addressing regulatory compliance? Chika.
Okay, thank you very much. I think all the discussions here today has centered on two things: is innovation and the compliance, and this is very important in the financial ecosystem. One, any business or even any sector that fails to innovate will definitely die. Then secondly, in those days in the university, there is a family friend also sitting down and he said something to me. He said, "Chief, any freedom without restriction is actually bondage." So, and again, a lot of people have made an analogy with cars here. When you look at the financial ecosystem, compliance, if it is like a car, and everybody has said it, compliance is not like a brake. Sometimes when I sit back, I imagine when you are driving a car at 140 kilometers and there is no brake in the car. One, you are a danger to yourself and you are a danger to anybody who is around there. So that is what compliance is all about. So for us in Pampe, even from the point of design, we embed compliance into it. And again, what happens when there is compliance? There is trust. The users, the customers will trust your product. And secondly, it makes investors to feel very, very comfortable to put money into the market. If our ecosystem is compliance and highly regulated, definitely the investors will not be afraid of making money. And again, I want to also say something. You could imagine this Nigerian financial ecosystem, there is no compliance. I can tell you that me and you will even put our money on the ground, not like in the olden system. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chika. You the quotable quotes, like I call it, freedom. Freedom without restriction is what is bondage, so powerful. At least that's something I can take home. I've written it for my son, to remind him that freedom without restriction is bondage. Chika, just talk about compliance by design. I actually started on that quickly.
Regulators, easy when you God, you need the but principle is that from what so that their policy to achieve regulators something like that to bring the so you also to carry along. Your innovator and operator should make comply policy. So I want you to attention to the final in the ones which is really international your leadership amazing. Vincent's role was of the on that how do partnerships team the way is a tendency to just to what the or say those that we that can bring that to the table. For the fintechs, of course, they are nimble, they are agile as well, so they can bring that. So that collaboration can be a strong mix
of both compliance and speed. Underpinning that is trust, because even though there's that kind of collaboration, there's also business interest, there's market share interest, which brings me back to the role an independent umpire can play, just like the scheme will do as well. And what we do is to facilitate that trust between all the parties. Now, there are some models that have been adopted that allow these two parties to thrive. One is a sub-license model. I mean, you have the traditional banks that have already been licensed to do a few things, and they can underwrite or support these fintechs in entering the market and maintaining that level of compliance. You also have a situation where you can also do this by exposing your infrastructure, so you can have infrastructure as a service, or you can have compliance as a service, so that the fintechs can also ride. But we've also seen a situation where the tables are turned, which is the traditional banks actually leveraging what the fintechs have built. Case in point is what Interswitch has designed now. I think it was Showcase, which is cross-border payments with pipe chain. Interswitch is also bringing this forward as a fintech, and it can help the banks as they go into Africa and they expand their footprint and accept cross-border payments. So you can have that kind of relationship, but it always helps when you have that independent person or party, which is the scheme that is helping to coordinate and also to foster collaboration.
Thank you so much, Vinny. I mean, I've had such a great time just listening to all the panelists, share their thoughts. But I think if you summarize everything that we've said is, there's a vital truth, and it's that compliance is not an enemy of innovation, but it's a framework for sustainable innovation. We've heard this in many ways already today. I want to thank very especially my very esteemed panelists, and I also want to thank you for listening. Thank you. So we'll just take pictures quickly, conscious of time. Thank you.
Smile. Say Ferraris.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I didn't miss my words when I said Chioyela is a man who knows how to nurture things. You can see how he nurtured that conversation and nurtured each and every participant. Please, let's put our hands together for them as they leave the stage. I can't hear the clap. The energy seems to be a bit too low. I think the clap is at just 20%. Can we go to like 50%? What about 60, 70, 80, 90? Okay, let's leave 100 for later. So now we're going to be going into another roadshow. So please, let's just sit back and let's just see another set of products that Interswitch has to offer.
Nobody likes to wait, especially when it comes to transactional alert. Now
the
imagine
stage?
a customer makes payment, but SMS takes forever to drop. Frustration sets in. Trust is shaking. But with Interswitch messaging service, you get a high-performance SMS solution that delivers your messages in real time. Whether it's transactional alerts, OTPs, promotional messages, or even birthday wishes. It is designed for enterprises that send millions of messages daily. Our solution guarantees high throughput, fault tolerance, and seamless integration into your existing system. And guess what? We've got you covered with 24/7 free support and 99.8 platform uptime. Whether you're sending locally points nationally. With Interswitch messaging services, your messaging just got smarter, faster, and more live.
Want to reach millions of mobile users instantly? Then you need USSD. When customers need to access your services, they do not want delays. They want speed, comfort, simplicity, and a service that just works. With the Interswitch USSD Gateway, we bridge the gap between your mobile users and your business, delivering high-speed, real-time communication anytime, anywhere. With our high processing speed and our seamless integration to mobile network providers with 100% end-to-end security, we can ensure your smooth, secure, and uninterrupted services. Do you need a USSD code? We handle that as well, from acquisition to hosting and full implementation and integration to your mobile network providers, so you can focus on growing your own business. And there's more. Our offline banking services leverages on our USSD infrastructure, allowing your mobile app to function seamlessly without internet data, ensuring uninterrupted access for your users. So what are you waiting for? Come on board our platform.
They say knowledge is power, but it's also currency. And the question is, how do we keep Africa's workforce rich? Rich in skill, rich in innovation, rich in execution. At Interswitch Skill Base, we believe the answer is simple. Equip Africa's workforce with the right skills that empower creativity, innovation, and excellence. For over 17 years, Interswitch Professional Services Skill Base has been Africa's trusted learning and development partner, bridging knowledge gaps, driving digital transformation, and building the next generation of innovators. Over 50,000 professionals trained, more than 100,000 certifications awarded, with presence across 25 plus countries, 260 plus specialized courses, and more than 40 partner organizations. That's not just numbers, it's impact at scale. We deliver expert-led training across Postillion software solutions, digital payments, fintech operations, fraud and compliance, cybersecurity, IT, and data. Leveraging on-site classes, live virtual instructor-led and self-paced e-learning programs. We bring together world-class faculty, industry expertise, and real-world insights that deliver learning experiences that transform learners. Our facilities are built to inspire, state-of-art, immersive, and designed for impact. Our approach? Pragmatic, collaborative, results-driven. We don't just train teams, we empower organizations to compete, adapt, and lead. Whether you are a bank, fintech, government agency, or enterprise, Skill-Base meets your need with tailored learning solutions that align with your goal and industry. Ready to upskill your team? Partner with us to build Africa's digital future, one skill, one mind, and one innovation at a time.
Money. We see it move. We see it move swiftly, securely, intelligently. But by itself, money has no meaning. Until ingenuity turns it into solutions. Compassion turns it into a gift. And curiosity into innovation. With it, passion and dreams build incredible things. Belief builds impossibilities, even the future itself. And connection. Connection reminds us how to be human. How to stay human. At Interswitch, we don't just move money. We keep people moving, so that when it matters the most, you don't lose out on the moments. Interswitch. Never stop.
Hello, hello, hello. Our ship is almost about to dock. Our flight is about to land.
Yeah.
Thank you for being with us on this journey this Tuesday. Before we go, Richard, remind me, what is the theme of TechConnect 5.0?
You know, I saw an interesting theme just on the screen saying fueling, right? Because it even goes with the cars that we've been speaking about since morning. So it's fueling growth through innovation, collaboration, and what? Compliance.
Is he correct? Did he miss a word? Is he correct?
I can see their fuel levels are low.
I hear murmuring. Is he correct this side? No. They said you're not correct, though.
How?
This side says yes. Try again. What is the theme of TechConnect 5.0?
I said my own theme now is this. Fueling growth. How? Through innovation, compliance, and I mixed it. Compliance and so
any of the products that have come up on stage today, anything we've showcased, please, please, please do not forget to scan the QR code on your agenda and to find someone, a business leader, or go to our demo area over there and have a conversation about what 2026 can look like with you and Interswitch. We're going to be presenting, are we presenting the awards? I don't think so.
I think, you know, our pay grade is not up to that presentation level.
Oh, okay, they said my pay grade. We're going to call on the people that are going to present their awards. I would like to call on Eyitayo Awe. Is he available?
Please let's put our hands together as it comes up.
He is the VP. This clapping is not... Ma, please, I'm so sorry. Don't climb the stairs until they clap properly.
Is available and we do the presentation. So we have quite a number between me and ICE. We're going to call them out. So, okay, the first bank is First Bank of Nigeria PLC. First Bank. Keep on clapping as he makes his way onto the stage. We can do better. Give it to him. Clap. Thank you. Come into the middle. Thank you so much. First bank. Okay. Second bank is Access Bank, Nigeria. Please put your hands together for them. Okay. So all the awards given out here today are for exceptional performance and contributions in innovation and excellence. Africa, UBA. Please put your hands together. Okay, next we'll be calling on Stanbic IBTC Bank. Please put your hands together for them. Is anybody making their way? Nice. Please clap for him as he comes up. Thank you. Okay. Next, we'll be calling on First City Monument Bank, FCMB. Please put your hands together for FCMB. Please put your hands together for him as he comes forward. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, FCMB. Okay. We shall also be calling on Providus Bank. Please put your hands together for Providus Bank as their representative comes up. Is the energy low? Please put your hands together for Providus Bank. Thank you. Wow. Okay. At this point, we shall be calling on Guarantee Trust Bank, GTB. Please put your hands together for them. Please put your hands together for Guarantee Trust Bank. Well done. Okay. So the next partner institution we'll be calling on is Team Apt Limited under Fintechs. Please put your hands together for Team Apt Limited. Please clap. They changed the music for him. Thank you. The next institution we'll be calling on is Pampe Limited. Please put your hands together for Pampe. Please put your hands together for him. Louder. Thank you so much. Okay. We shall also be calling on Fincra Technologies. Please put your hands together for Fincra Technologies. Thank you very much. Yeah. The next category captures the microfinance banks. First on the list is VDF Microfinance Bank. Please put your hands together. VFD Microfinance Bank, please put your hands together for them. VFD. Is there anybody from VFD Microfinance Bank? The glory. Somebody is receiving this on their behalf. Thank you very much. Collected on behalf of VFD Microfinance Bank. And the last person we'll be calling on today is LACO Microfinance Bank. Please put your hands together for them. Please put your hands together as he makes his way onto the stage. Thank you, everyone. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You did that beautifully. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Please, can we keep clapping for them as they make their way back to their seat?
We're at that time of the flights where they've said, buckle your seats, we're about to land. Stow away all your tray tables. Sit up straight. We're almost there. As we go, we want to say a special thank you to all our distinguished guests. But we know that saying goodbye should be a formal matter. And so we will call on Bumi Aina to give the closing remarks and officially land this plane. My name is Chidi. It has been an honor to be the host of this event. I have shared hosting responsibilities with
Richard.
Who is doing this for the first time? Give him a round of applause, you guys.
You're making me shy, but make me shy
He
more.
did so well. Thank you, Bumi. Take it away.
Thank you, Chidi. Thank you, Richard. Richard, we'll see after. I think you've activated the site also. Thank you, everyone, for being here today, for staying till this time. We really do say thank you. We appreciate everyone for their contribution, for their patience, for even being seated there alone. We do appreciate you. I know that we've spoken about being an enabler or being a limitation, but I want to be the catalyst to our launch. So I know I'm the one standing between your launch and leaving this place. So I'll try to make it very fast. And for being here and seated for this time, please give yourselves a round of applause. We all deserve it for staying from the beginning till the end. We really do say thank you to you guys. The Director, Payment System Policy Department, Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Jimo Musa, represented by Mr. Wayola Ajakai, Deputy Director, Payment System Policy Department, Central Bank. Our partners, regulator, media partners, my colleagues from the media, and friends of Interswitch. Good afternoon. Distinguished guests, partners, innovators, regulators, and friends of Interswitch. This has been a very great day. What a day. Today has been filled with insights, contributions, learnings, different analogies from Ferrari to back security to quite a number of instances. and above all, a reaffirmation of our collective commitment to advancing the frontiers of fintech in Nigeria and across Africa. From Enugu to Abuja, and now we're here in Lagos, the grand finale of TechConnect 5.0. We have witnessed the same energy, passion, and hunger for progress, and that continues to define our ecosystem. Each city has its own story, reflected unique local realities, yet echoing one unified message. Innovation in financial services is not slowing down, it's only getting stronger. It's been over 2 decades where Interswitch was bettered, but quite a number of unicorns, being the first unicorn, quite a lot of unicorns have also been bettered since then. And we're not stopping. You might be the next unicorn on your seat, so let's get it going, collaborate and partner. Today's conversations, from navigating policy shifts to de-risking innovation and leveraging compliance as a catalyst for growth, reminds us that transformation is not a one-off event. At Interswitch, this is what drives us, powering Africa's digital transformation, creating opportunities, value enablement, resolving problems, enabling prosperity through technology. We believe that when we connect people, businesses and ideas, we create not just convenience, but opportunities. So as we draw the curtain on this remarkable Lagos edition, and indeed the entire TechConnect 5.0 series, let's keep the energy alive. Let's continue to collaborate, innovate responsibly, and design solutions that speak to the everyday realities of Africans everywhere. In the words of the visionary Nelson Mandela, it always seems impossible until it is done. Together, we have shown that possibility is not only a mindset and progress and our shared mission. On behalf of the entire Interswitch group, I say thank you to our partners, our regulators, our customers, and everyone who continues to believe in our power of technology to shape a smarter, more inclusive future. We look forward to meeting you again, not just to discuss change, but to celebrate the impact of the change we are making together. Let's keep building, connecting, powering Africa's progress together. Thank you, everyone, and we wish everyone a safe journey back to their destinations. God bless.
Thank you so much, Bumi. Please, can we just still remain seated? The lunch is ready, but we still want us to remain seated. But before I give us the information around the lunch, I just want us to still pick up our cards. Can we please scan the QR code that is in front of you? We really want your feedback. We really want to know how everything went. And we also want to know some of the products that you are very interested in. Please, I'll just give us about a minute. I might be going around the crowd just to see how many people have filled. Who knows, maybe I might give you a special, maybe I just give you my lunch. So please let us engage with the form, please. Let's scan. Please, how many of us have engaged the QR code, please? Can I see your hands? If you've engaged the QR code, please. If you have not, please try to nudge the person beside you to go. Once again, thank you all for coming. I'll just give us the proceedings for the lunch. Please, can we just remain seated so that everything can be orderly? The ushers are going to come and direct us on how we should go row by row, depending on how they deem it fit. However, please do not forget to go with your lunch card and also your gift card so that you can pick all the items at once. Again, I say please let's remain seated. The ushers will come to your area and direct you accordingly.
curiosity into innovation. With it, passion and dreams build incredible things. Belief builds impossibilities, even the future itself. And connection. Connection reminds us how to be human. How to stay human. At Interswitch, we don't just move money. We keep people moving, so that when it matters the most, you don't lose out on the moments. Interswitch.